Hey, everyone. At this time, it is now, is it, the microphone's not working? I'm gonna elevate there we go. I don't have to elevate it, but I have a loud voice anyway. Good evening, everyone. It is now 7:00 p.m. I welcome you to our regular city council meeting. Today is May 9th, 2023, and we always start our meeting with invocation and then following the Pledge of Allegiance. Are you doing the invocation today? Okay, Mr. Zander, he is one of our neighbors and part of our family. This is a family town, so you're part of the family now. So he has been doing our invocation for the last couple Tuesdays, and we thank him for that. And then also, I'm going to ask everyone to stand. And again, when he does the invocation, it's going to be led by the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Zander.
Most gracious God, I ask you to be with us as a family here in Eastpointe. We wanted to pray for all the mothers for Mother's Day this coming week. Pray for them. And let us go through tonight, and we just wanted to get this thing going and get through so we can get back to our families. And we just wanted to do that, Lord, and we love you very, very much. And so we just wanted to wish all the mothers have a Mother's Day for this time being. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone that participated in the invocation as well as the Pledge of Allegiance. We have two proclamations. One is Police Week, which is May 14th through the 20th, 2023, which is every year. And then also Teacher Appreciation Week, which is May 8th through the 12th of this year as well. So we are going to be reading those proclamations. Do we have any teachers in the building? No? Okay. Well, teachers that's looking at home, we might not be certified teachers, but some of us teach and mentor a lot, right, in our lives. So, but the teachers who are not here, but because they're probably tired, they're home from teaching, we want to say thank you and appreciate you. So the first one we're going to do is the Police Officer Week. And you know I love my Eastpointe police officers. As you all know, I used to serve as a police officer for 11 years as a deputy and certified and everything like that with one of the top police academies in the state of Michigan, which is Schoolcraft College in Livonia, top of my class. So I understand the things and the challenges that the police officers go through on a day-to-day basis. And I want to say thank you personally because I understand. And so anytime the police ask me or talk to me about something, I'm always listening, of course, first. But I'm always supporting our officers, and because putting your life on the line is something that we can never pay you enough for that. And so I want to give the opportunity for one of our council to read that, if you would like. If not, I will be honored to read it. Okay, definitely read it. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week, established by a joint resolution of Congress in 1962. National Police Week pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And whereas there are more than 700,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the approximately 17,000 full-time uniformed police officers in Michigan. And whereas members of law enforcement deserve the appreciation and respect of the people of Eastpointe, Michigan for the merit, dignity, bravery, and reliability, I'm gonna add in here commitment, they exhibit each and every day. We must also honor the sacrifices made by families of police officers, as each day they must face constant fear as their loved ones work to protect us.
And whereas in 2021 alone, 458 law enforcement officers were killed and many, many more assaulted in the line of duty across the country. The name of these dedicated public servants who made the ultimate sacrifice are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas Michigan's fallen officers will never be forgotten, nor will their service to the respective communities. By choosing to commit themselves to law enforcement, these brave individuals answered the call for service and willingly put their lives in jeopardy. We commend them for recognizing service as a noble career and protecting the public safety, and also all of those who are serving without incident today. And whereas Eastpointe, Michigan, and all Michigan citizens have turned to members of law enforcement for assistance and support in times of distress, whether they are coping with a personal crisis, bearing the strains of a pandemic, or struggling through civil disorder or a natural disaster. Our communities rely on these courageous individuals when it is difficult to stand on our own. And we are indebted to the unwavering public service of our local and state police. We are indeed fortunate and grateful for the contributions of law enforcement officers to the people of this state. Now, therefore, we, the City Council for the City of Eastpointe, do hereby proclaim May 14th through the 20th of 2023 as Police Week in the City of Eastpointe, Michigan. We publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community as well as those of our state and nation, and honor police who place their lives on the line for safety and security to their communities. We want to say thank you. And I'm going to stand and give you an applause for everything you do. And next is the City of Eastpointe Proclamation Teacher Appreciation Week, May 8th through the 12th, 2023. Council again. Councilman Curley will be reading the proclamation for teacher.
Before Councilman reads that, I just wanted to say thank you, a special thanks to Mark Kilgore for requesting that we bring forth the appreciation of our police officers. I was hoping that he would be here tonight. But thank you, Mark, for encouraging our council to not forget to highlight our officers.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm honored to read this. I'm honored to read this. I was on the school board back in the 70s. But I am honored to read this for all the teachers. Whereas teachers in all learning environments help students grow their talents, pursue their interests, and support their needs, equipping them to lead successful and fulfilling lives. And whereas teachers are trusted, respected professionals who must be empowered and supported to do their best work and to provide high-quality, innovative learning experiences that serve all students. And whereas teachers and parents who know children best must be empowered to work together, to work what is right for each student, regardless of the child's zip code, income, or background. And whereas the success of Eastpointe's dedicated teachers in helping students realize their limited potential dedicate the future of our community. And whereas every Eastpointe resident knows a great teacher who made the difference in their lives or in the lives of a loved one, and we thank those educators during Teachers Appreciation Week and always. Now, therefore, Eastpointe City Council does hereby proclaim May 8th through May 12th, 2023 as Teacher Appreciation Week and extends a sincere appreciation to all teachers at public, private, and home schools. Proclaim this 9th day of May 2023. Amen.
Amen. sorry, I'm just signing some certificates right now for our students. Thank you. Thank you for reading that, Councilman.
Thank you.
I'll write that to our agenda. So we have our Eastpointe Excellence Awards. That's why I got so quiet. We were up here signing as a council. And we have a couple young people that we're going to be awarding tonight. Are they in the audience today?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
you're here.
Did you all want to stand and come up to the podium?
Madam Mayor, if you could we go up front?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, first, can our city manager, I'm going to read what this all is about for those that don't know. I'm sorry? Okay.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm so glad to see each of our young people up here. I am very proud of you all, as are your instructors, as is your administration, as well as the school board. And I say on behalf of all of them, congratulations on being successful in staying on the honor roll, one, getting on the honor roll, but then staying on the honor roll. And all of you, I believe, are seniors, right? So you all are going to be graduating, and I want to say this to you as well. Remember that your voice is important. Use your voice. Use your voice. Never let anyone silence it, because your voice is important, and your voice is especially important in the community that you've been grown in. So I hope that we'll see you like we've seen some of our officers and some of our teachers who come back and pour into the community. But even if you go out and you're the star that we shoot out from here, go far, go high. Never let anyone tell you that you can't. When they say you can't, show them that you can, because you have been given special gifts and abilities. Your parents have invested in you, and they've invested in you to get a return on their investment. Your community has invested in you. Your teachers have invested in you with the hopes of getting a return on their investment. So go and make us proud. And I can tell you, as someone who heard a lot of no's along the way, there's nothing impossible for you. If they tell you you can't go to a particular school, you absolutely can. You can do above and beyond. You can, if you want to go to trade school, whatever it is, you can do above and beyond. So I encourage you, do your absolute best and always use your voice. With that being said, the City of Eastpointe Excellent Award is proudly presented to our students. The City of Eastpointe values academic excellence and wishes to recognize and honor your outstanding scholastic achievement at Eastpointe High School. I'm going to say the names of the students, and as I say them, if you wouldn't mind going, and our council is going to stand in front, and we're going to get a picture of all of you guys, because I think we have more on the list than are actually present, and I don't know all of you all personally. So when you hear your name, if you'll go ahead and stand in front. Nevaeh Cannon, Sheik Diop, Casey Fordham, Najian Fricks, Akayla Jasmine Martin, Kayla Lynn McIntosh, Chelsea Myesha Scott, Imani Smith, Brianna Spalsbury, Kaylin Taylor, Kennedy Thomas, Imari York, Jeremiah Chappelle, Jonah Cram, Rokeya Lowe, Kayla Roberson, Tiana Sanford, Ashton Sopko, and Lene Marie Ware. Let's give these babies a hand.
We have the superintendent in the building, the school board. If you want to be a part of this picture, you are all a part of this whole moment, even though the kids did all the work. They did all the work. So if any, and then we can do something with the parents if you want to as well, if you want to get in here too. We want to include everybody that wants to be a part of this. This is huge for us. I think this is our first one. This is our first one, and not our last. Let the parents come up. Come on, parents.
Congratulations, parents. You guys put these babies through all the way to 12th grade. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, okay, then we're gonna go right into our presentation. But again, thank you to the staff of Eastpointe High School, all the teachers, the superintendent, to the maintenance guy, to everyone that helps, our children to grow. That's what excellence is. And I just want to commend all the children who came up here to just go for it. I don't care what it is, go for it. Don't be afraid. And we're here to help you. And next, we're going to go roll it right into our presentation to our Eastpointe Community School, our superintendent, and she's going to talk about our bond proposal presentation. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of City Council, members of the audience, and those of you joining at home. My name is Christina Gibson. I'm the superintendent of Eastpointe Community Schools. And I also have with me this evening Jeff Atkins from Barton Mallow. Last evening, and I have 5 minutes running on the clock, and Sarah Lucido is supposed to get me if I keep going too long. So, last night, Eastpointe Community School Board approved the call for an election on August 8th, 2023. The purpose of the call for the election is to request the community a $0 increase bond process. The average age of our facilities in Eastpointe Community Schools is 64.5 years old. Our high school is approaching its centennial, almost 100 years old soon. The last bond proposal passed by Eastpointe voters was in 2009 and focused primarily on needs at the secondary campus level. In 2019, Eastpointe voters passed a sinking fund that has allowed the school to complete maintenance and minor renovations across the school district. Why do we need a bond proposal here in Eastpointe Community Schools? Enrollment at the preschool and at our early elementary levels is projected to double in the next 5 years. We've done a significant amount of work on our early learning center, where our youngest learners are growing in number. We want to ensure that our facilities support our youngest learners. In addition, the bond revenue will help to finish the projects at the secondary level that were initiated through the sinking fund. We have also been using our ESSER 3 ARP dollars to make huge improvements across our schools. We are improving our libraries. When children come back next year, they will have new libraries, new classroom furniture. And this is about us continuing the forward momentum of making our school district a great school district. And I see many community members who have expressed over the years concerns about the district's responsibility for updating and maintaining our facilities. And this is about continuing that. Will the bond proposal increase the current tax rate? No. We are asking for it'll be a $0 increase bond package. The school district will extend the current tax rate for the entirety of the bond, which will not require any tax rate increase to complete any projects. So you will not see an increase in your taxes for your property. You will have a $0 increase. The projects that we will be completing will include work at the Early Childhood Learning Center. We'll be working on improving safety and security, replacing paving and concrete, We'll be working on reconfiguring our parking lots and bus loops. If anybody has tried to drop a child off at the Early Learning Center, you know there is a giant traffic jam on David at the start and end of school every day. This bond project will improve the traffic flow at all of our elementary schools across the district. We will be updating playgrounds and playfields. We've got great spaces for playing. But we've got some opportunities to improve our playgrounds across our community. We will update instructional technology, update restrooms, replace roofing, and updating mechanical systems. Projects at our secondary level will be targeted towards improving safety and security, creating secure entrances at the middle school and high school, replacing paving and concrete issues, updating instructional technology, adding outdoor physical education equipment. We like that basketball court so much that the city put in at 10 Mile that we need our own basketball court at Eastpointe Middle School. We'll be working to renovate restroom facilities. We will also be asking the community to support the improvement of our athletic fields and the Eastpointe pool, which has been closed due to facility repairs. We'll also be replacing roofing and updating our mechanical systems at our secondary campuses. The process for voting will be that the polls will open on August 8th. If you choose to vote by absentee ballot, that would be after June 29th through Election Day. To get an absentee ballot application, please call the clerk's office or go to the michigan.gov vote and click on absentee voting in the left-hand column. For more information regarding the Eastpointe Community Schools bond package, you can reach out to myself, the superintendent of Eastpointe Community Schools, at 586-533-3000, or you can email me at christina.gibson@eastpointeschools.org. And lastly, if you'd like to weigh in more about your thoughts about our bond proposal or suggest other things that I might not have considered this evening that the district needs to have our eyes on for addressing and creating a school district that you will be proud of in our community, I invite you to please scan this QR code and take a brief survey and give me feedback that will drive the work of our district. And lastly, I want to share with this community that the Board of Education has approved a strategic plan for Eastpointe Community Schools. Many of you in various capacities provided input, shared your beautiful children with us to give feedback, as well as we've defined 5 key goal areas that we will be living into. If you're not aware of our strategic plan and our revised mission and vision, I invite you to pick a sheet up at the table on your way out. I have placed the copies there. I now open myself and Jeff Atkins from Barton Mallow, who has been absolutely integral in helping us plan and recall for an election in this bond package. We are available to answer any questions that City Council might have.
Any questions, Council?
I do have a couple. What's the total amount being sought through the bond?
Jeff, would you kindly come up and join me so that I can give all the accurate information?
Yes.
I think it's 36.4, but I'm going to make sure that Jeff helps me to get it right.
The total amount requested is $36,415,000.
And then do you have a breakdown across the district of how you intend to use those funds?
Yes, yeah, the whole process goes through the Department of Treasury. They do a very thorough review of this document to make sure that everything is an allowable expense, that the funds will be spent properly, and we have to detail where every dollar is going to be spent in the district. So that document's available. I think we can link it into the website.
We will be linking it to our website in full transparency of all of the work that we would plan for our schools.
Do you have, I heard a lot about the early learning centers. I did hear that you would be doing some security and possibly a renovation of the basketball court or creating a basketball court at the middle school. But do you have a percentage breakdown for each of the school levels?
Yes.
Of how much you intend to spend of that 36 million?
We do.
Correct, yeah, there's a summary sheet that details exactly every single building and how much is being spent by category in each one of those buildings. In addition, there's a very detailed sheet of what each one of those is. So, for example, roughly 10% is being spent at Crescent Wood, or there's roughly $10 million is being spent at the high school. I can kind of go through this if you want, but it'll be on the website. if you want that, but it'll have a breakdown by building.
I don't think it should be a problem if we add that link to our website.
We'll double
What do
check.
you- what do you
We'll
think?
double check the bond regulations.
Okay, yes,
There are
yeah.
strict regulations when a school
Okay.
district calls for a bond about things we're
Okay.
allowed to do. I don't know the answer to that, Mayor
Okay.
Owens, but I will take the time to find it for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I believe as long as it's informational, not advocacy, then.
Right,
then-
exactly.
then that's the kind of the dividing line there.
Right, thank you. Any other questions, Pam?
One more question.
take your time.
With respect to the high school and the CTE program, I know that you mentioned in terms of extracurricular, the pool. I would love to see that come back. But with respect to CTE, is there some intent to like maybe bring back graphics, increase culinary?
Right now, in the bond package, our primary focus or locus of focus will be this going to do for us. And we as a school district are interested in saying, what can we do for you as a community?
I just want to say, I love what, I've been sitting in, listening in to the board meetings. I love what you're doing as a district, especially in the elementary schools. And my biggest excitement is to see how that pours over into the secondary schools, because eventually those babies are going to grow up, and then they're going to need a great school right here in their hometown to attend. And so I'm excited.
I share that with you, Stacy. Our elementary schools are very strong, and I appreciate, and this will share your opinion and perspective with my leadership team. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Will this bond include helping with the percentage of public safety in the schools?
It will not. The
Okay.
district has applied for a SRO grant and has received the School Reform Officer Grant. We
Okay.
are currently in negotiations with the city to get an intergovernmental agreement to co-employ that position with the grant funds. We will have some work to do as a city and a school district to make some planning for how we sustain a school resource officer outside of the 3-year grant window. But I know that with the relationships we are working to build with the city, we will be able to navigate that successfully.
That couldn't be part of the bond after the 3-year
It
grant?
can't, the bond is for physical improvements on
physical?
structure.
Okay.
Bond packages cannot be used for salaries, compensation,
Okay.
or any other pieces.
Okay.
What we'll have to do is synergize the economic flow and the income streams that the district does get
Okay.
to continue to work on the physical aspect and the human element of keeping children safe in schools.
Okay, great job. Thank you for the information. Any other questions, comments?
I know
Or-
Harvey Creech will get me on the way out. Does the council have anything else? Thank you so very much for the opportunity, and I'd like to again thank the city council for acknowledging and recognizing our students and acknowledging and recognizing our public servants, both police and teachers, who impact and serve this amazing community. Thank you so very much for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
Our next presentation will be from our Recreational Authority of Roseville and Eastpointe, which is known as RARE here in the city of Eastpointe. Good evening.
Good evening.
Excuse my voice.
Perfect, yeah.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. We appreciate the opportunity to present our programs and events that are coming up this spring and summer to provide, opportunities for people to get out and enjoy themselves, some music, activities, fitness. This is Sarah Frederick, our Assistant Director. My name is Tony Lipinski, the Director of the Recreation Authority, and Sarah will take it from there.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We're just going to go through our slide. Who has control over it? Does anyone have control? Who? You do. Okay, great. Just this week, we launched our new website. So sorry if you visited in the last couple months. It's been highly under construction, but we revamped it. It's easy to locate things and everything on there, so go check it out. We also have links to our newsletter, online registration. Pretty much everything that we offer is on our website now. This Saturday, we have our Spring Craft and Vendor Show. Listed on the right are all our vendors that will be at our facility within our large and small gym. It's just $1 to get in, and if ages 12 and under are free, and we also have concessions there. But a lot of like local craft artists and vendors, and this is our first year doing it on a Saturday, so we're really excited about that. It's kind of more popular that day, so if you're out in the neighborhood and everything, check it out. This June 1st, to kick off Pride Month, we are doing our first Pride event at Veterans Memorial Park in Roseville. We have a ton of activities, as you can see on the flyer. We have each city coming to represent and participate in our Pride flag ceremony at 5:25. We have about 3 different craft stations. I think I have about like 15 vendors coming. We're going to have yard games out, sidewalk chalk, different photo opportunities we're working on with these big selfie stations, some giveaways, a Zumba demonstration by Drew, our Zumba instructor, at 5:30, and DJs and different local artists on the schedule to the right on there, and then concessions will be there for purchase. So hope to see you all out there. It is free. The next event is our Family and Friends Nerf War. Oh, it is the one back. I haven't gotten to yes, on the right side, on Wednesday, July 19th at 6 o'clock. We have all the Nerf guns and everything, so you just need to purchase tickets. We provide a snack and drink, and it's a lot of fun, so just sign your kids up and everything for the event. It's one of our more popular events. It's $10 for residents and $15 for non-residents. Yep. And then our very large event at the beginning of August, kind of end of summer, is our Rockin' Summer Night event. It is held at Kennedy Park from 5 to 9 p.m. This is all a free event too, as well, for the community. We have kids attractions there, food vendors. We will have a beer and wine tent hosted by the Eastpointe Lions Club, craft vendors, and then our headlining band, Collision 6. We have, aside from events, we got a couple programs starting this summer. We offer tennis lessons with our instructor Chip at Spindler Park. They're very popular, so I'd suggest signing up early if you want your children to participate. And there's also adults as well. So starting at ages 4 all through adults, we offer tennis lessons. And then we have Nama Karate at our facility on Mondays and Wednesdays throughout the summer as well, doing karate. We have our Teen Chess Club that we just started up. Last week had about 6 kids at the facility playing chess after school. It is free for teens, and that's from 4 to 5, and it's the first and third Wednesday of each month. We have a couple staff members in the evening that really love chess that wanted to start this and everything, so they just kind of oversee it and supervise it with the students. And then we have our babysitting training. It's a really popular class coming up towards the summer once kids are getting out of school, parents want their kids feeling comfortable being at home alone and everything. This is a great class to take. It's on Saturday, May 20th is the next one. They learn CPR, they learn activities to do with the kids, safety instructions and everything. We have an awesome instructor for that. So it's a really great class if you want your kids to feel comfortable and safe at home. Changing a diaper, yes. We do learn that. We also have a outdoor play and picnic. It is hosted by our preschool teacher, Jasmine. In June and July, it is on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. It's just kind of a meetup where you can bring your lunch. We reserve a pavilion and have the kids play at the park. In June, it's at Veterans Memorial Park in Roseville. In July, it's at Spindler Park in Eastpointe. And then we also have our youth open gym. That is Monday through Fridays from 3:30 to 5. We always have a gym available for the students, and it's just $2, 17 and under, $5 to rent a ball. Most of the kids bring their own. And then we have a card system where we scan them in, and prior to going to opening gym, the parent just has to sign up for them online or in person, and it's free to do that. We have a lot of adult drop-in fitness programs that are weekly. We have Zumba, Turn-Up Dance Fitness, Yoga, Pound, and then Zumba Gold. Those are all drop-in fees weekly. You do not need to pre-register for them, and they're held weekly throughout the year. We also have our senior programs for this summer as well coming up. We do run a summer day camp for our seniors. So there, as you can see, there's different themes for different days. Tuesday, June 13th is the summer picnic theme. Tuesday, July 11th is Sun, Sand, and Sea, and then the Elvis theme on August 8th. And full payments due at registration, so you just come into the Recreation Center and sign up for those events there. And then we are also offering beginner pickleball lessons. That is one of the hot sports that is up and rising, and so we want to be able to make sure that our residents know how to play and play well. So if you are interested in signing up for pickleball for seniors 50 plus, Fred Proctor is going to be our instructor, and it's going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. starting May 23rd, and $60 for residents. All right. Do you have anything else?
Just,
yes.
So yeah, with pickleball being the fastest growing sport in the world, we had to get something going for instruction for those who want to learn how to play. And Fred is a certified pickleball instructor. For the senior programs, we have the senior bulletin that comes out every 2 months. We do have copies that are left on the table out there, and they'll be brought every couple months once they come out with all the senior activities, as well as our program newsletter. This is the spring summer program newsletter that's been available for the last couple of months. We've left many here in the library in the manager's office, and it's available online at our website. All of our programs and events are
Erin Park, and I've been working with her to possibly get some fall programming at their community building at the Erin Park facilities.
I'm so
and
happy to
everything.
hear that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space, so we're excited for that partnership.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Director, I know the last couple of years we've been trying to get lifeguards at the school to start back the swimming for the school. How is that coming along? Because I know our councilwoman just brought it up, and I know we had worked on it a couple years ago, but everyone is having problems with hiring lifeguards. So how is that going now?
So in order to solve that problem, we began a lifeguard training class, and then we hire them.
Okay, sounds
So,
good.
I mean, we can't let them get too far, otherwise they will get other jobs. But we do have a open swim program that is held at the pool at Roseville High School, and then we're, always willing to go to Eastpointe High School. Obviously, they've had some, difficulties with the pool being closed, but, everybody supports the bond issue, and that problem will be solved.
Sounds good, thank you. I also went to a location in the city of Detroit, and they have partnered up with other locations in Macomb County. I'll give you that information for kids to learn how to play golf for free. So that'd be nice for our children to learn how to play golf.
Sure.
In different golf country clubs around here that partner with Detroit that have our children learn how to play golf, and it's all the way up to ages, I believe, 14. They start off as young as 6 years old, I believe.
Sure, we've
But
had
I'll
golf
give you-
lessons in the past. And
Golf lessons in the past, yeah, so I don't know how to play golf, so I'm ready. So, yeah, but I definitely want to put my children in that, and y'all have the chess. And I think it's a school in Roseville that teaches chess too, right? Over by the, what is that, Bigby. It's hidden, it's over there, it's a school of chess.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yes, a lot of people don't know about it. I don't know if it's still there, but it is hidden. But my kids used to learn how to play chess at St. Peter's. That's where they learn. And so to have it for free in our community, that's huge. So also I was going to add, can you extend some of those services to our Boys and Girls Club that just came in the city of Eastpointe with chess and things like that, whatever they don't already have? Can those same services be done with the Boys and Girls Club in the city of Eastpointe?
Of course, yeah. We've met with them, several months ago, and we're always willing to collaborate. I believe we spoke with them again at the chamber event recently. So,
Okay, sounds good.
so anytime, we'd like to work together, that'd be great.
You're always on it, so I don't have anything else to say.
If I could put one more plug in, we are also hosting a blood drive on Tuesday, June 6th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Just can't express the importance of this enough that, just donating blood takes a little less than an hour of your time, but it does help save lives.
Thank
So I
you. Thank you
appreciate
for your work, both of you and everyone, the whole staff there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Moving right along. To our roll call, our Assistant City Manager. Good evening, Ms. Holman.
Good evening, Mayor. Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz,
Present.
Councilmember Curley,
Here?
Councilmember DeMonico, Mayor Owens.
I'm here. Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I would so move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. The next item is the hearing of the public. The hearing of the public, you get 3 minutes before, and later on, towards the end, you get an additional 3 minutes. But before we allow the adults to go up there, do any of the kids who just, the children, the youth that just got an award today would like to say anything? We want to make sure that you have the opportunity to use your voice. Okay, no? Okay. The hearing of the public is now open. Anyone that'd like to speak at this time? Excuse me.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council, and I guess I'm going to have to call you not the public, the Republic, because it's about time now. Excuse me saying this, my name's Harvey Creech. Been a resident in this city for a long time, and I've seen some great things happen, such as this. I said we've seen the kids graduate from high school. We've had reports from Recreation Department, but I tell you, I guess I'm at the point right now, as I said, I've been working at this for quite some time. And I've come to the point to where something has to totally be done. And Stacy, I appreciate what you come up with your new teen committee, but we have committees right now that are not getting what they need. You have to meet, you have to talk, and you have to let these people be heard. Such as right now, you're talking about the Recreation Committee. They're not meeting till next week. Our parks have been open for 2 weeks. And excuse me for saying this, I've had a run-in apparently with some of the park attendants, and I was told I couldn't talk to any of them about anything. I had to go through the park director. This is getting to be pretty bad. The last 3 years, I've had this same thing. We're not moving forward, we're moving backwards. This city, indirectly, with its parks and recreation, is moving backwards. We don't have any equipment for the kids whatsoever. I found out that the city itself, per se, I finally got some equipment coming up through Rare. Rare's going to buy us some balls, some bats, stuff to use. And I'm tired of hearing, let the parents bring the kid what they want to play with. This doesn't work this way, people. We have a park. We have baseball diamonds. We have shuffleboard. We have all this stuff. I want to bring it, and I said the same thing about it. Rare has donated some to us. Right now, they won't even let me get in the rooms and see what we do have. We have a problem here, and it's a severe problem, and it's getting worse. You know, as I say, it's a breakdown of monies. Where is the monies? How much does actually this city have to spend for sports equipment? I can't find it anywhere. I cannot find it anywhere in the recreation budget or anything, how much money that this city has to spend on sports equipment. And the culinary and the pool and the rest of the stuff happening at the high school is great. Okay. Biggest problem with the schools and the rest of the stuff, we have more empty schools right now than we have schools. We could sell 2 tomorrow, it wouldn't make a difference because we don't have the kids. There's just so many things I'd really like to talk about. I just say I'll wait till the next coming up, but there's certain, please, let's get some things done.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Council. Mary Hall Rayford, Eastpointe. I'm trying really hard to find a way to say the things that need to be said without being offensive. But I'll say it one thing this way. When I was interested and knowing what was going on council, I actually reviewed the videos from times prior. So I don't see not knowing what happened is an excuse. I also don't understand why people don't understand landlord-tenant standard, basic agreements. To say that you want to rethink, reconsider an agreement that has already been made is absolutely appalling. It's reneging on an agreement already in place. And I can't find any justification for that. Of course, if we're going to set a precedent of overturning things that have already been done, think about what that future is going to look like when seats are filled with somebody else. Thank you.
Anyone else at this time? Good evening.
Hi, Cindy Federley. I want to start by thanking Director Ruhib for releasing the body cam footage so we could all see what really happened at Eastbrook Commons last week. I saw it on the news at 6 o'clock, and I'm very proud of your officers. I just wanted to thank you for that. Now, at the last council meeting, it was noted that Mayor Owens had $407 left in her education account. At the December 20th, 2022 meeting, Councilperson Lucido offered $400 from her account to help pay airfare for a conference you were going to in January. Mayor Owens did not know if she had enough money in her account to pay hotel and airfare. The conference was free. Since that money was not needed and it was offered for the January conference, I feel it should be returned to the original account. It was not offered for future use, it was offered for that January meeting, which would put the money back into Ms. Cabuniz's account. Now I'd like to address the Military Museum mess. The contract was supported by many residents and discussed at length during meetings last November and December. It's an honor for our city to have a nationally recognized museum for the military. As a candidate for mayor and as a council person, Ms. Cabuniz, you should have respected the cities of our city enough to look into the contract or at least listen to the citizen and council discussions before the budget meeting last week. You had the budget before the meeting, and I feel it's your responsibility to be prepared before meetings. You kept pressuring not only Director Palucci, but Director Blum to give an estimate as to when repairs would be needed to be made. If you have a magic ball that tells me when my furnace or hot water tank needs replacing, please come visit them so I can know how to budget for those replacements. You said you wanted to make an educated decision. Well, that education comes from you researching what transpired before you started attending council meetings as a council person. And I guess I also need to remind all of you that your job is to represent the residents and listen to what we feel is best for the city. We also need to have more police presence in our neighborhoods. I don't see why you would need to wait several months to see if it makes a difference in crime when Director Ruhib has said his officers issued about 800 tickets. It doesn't take numbers to analyze the difference in crime, it takes common sense. Mayor Owens is once again asked to join 3 national mayoral organizations at a cost of nearly $7,000. This is a figure she neglected to look into before the budget meeting. I'm prepared to not have that information, and as a weak mayoral city, we are not going to benefit from memberships in these groups. And with an election year, we don't even know if Mayor Owens will still be in office. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? A happy Mother's Day to you. Anyone else?
Karen Morage, an Eastpointe resident. Why is there no 2023 EPD budget listed? And how many more officers do we need for a stronger police presence? Last week, there was a shooting in the park with kids running throughout our backyards. One of my neighbors said the kid ran through the backyard saying, just throw the bike over the fence. My security camera picked up 2 teens with masks running through the tenant's yard next door. And then 3 days later, one of my other neighbors almost had their car stolen. Both events had a strong police presence, and we're grateful for that. But, you know, we need this presence long before to deter these criminals and not after the fact. On the flip side, Director Rohib, I'm asking that you, again, remind your reserve officers to stop driving on the Spindler Park walk path. They had no exigent circumstances to justify doing that. And this is not the first time they've done it. I've told them, don't drive on the path. They think it's funny. I don't. It takes a lot of us by surprise when they do that. That's not right. Moving on to ordinances that need to be drafted and passed. One thing is you got to keep the cats indoors. Keep the cats safe, keep the wildlife safe. I'm getting really tired on my daily walks of finding dead birds on all these different sidewalks, no matter where I'm walking. And we also need to go with Macomb County Animal Control once they finalize their new shelter. One ACO here is not enough. It's just, in 16 years, we've just been burning through ACOs left and right. There's too many animals for just one ACO. We really need to go with MCAC because they are fully prepared and equipped for all the animals. I'd like to also see Eastpointe adopt No Mow May, and that's to protect our pollinators. Channel 7 did a story earlier tonight about protecting the pollinators. We're losing them left and right. The DNR has added bees, bats, and butterflies to the endangered species list. We can't have that, so it's not pretty when the lawns get long. Well, you know what? Vanity should never supersede the safety and the existence of these beneficial pollinators. We're in big trouble without the pollinators.
30 seconds.
So, and then I notice we have this birding event coming up. Please invite the Michigan State University Extension Center to talk more about the pollinators and also about No Mow Monday and how beneficial it is for the pollinators. And like Cindy said, you guys, you need to listen to us in what we find pertinent to keep the residents safe. Do us all a favor, get rid of Great Lakes Renaissance property. Look at the court website, 222 times they've been in court with their tenants.
Your time is up, ma'am. Thank you. You do not get to finish your 3 minutes. You have an additional 3 minutes closer to the end of the council meeting. Yes, sir. Good evening.
Hello. Tony Lipinski with the Recreation Authority. I just wanted to maybe clarify some of the comments from Mr. Creech. Now, Harvey Creech and I have met several times, and he's very passionate about, bringing activities and improving the parks and such. A couple of things that were said, though. The Eastpointe Parks and Rec Commission meets monthly. I think he mentioned there was maybe every other month or so. They do meet monthly, and they're very active, and they're a good group that comes up with a lot of ideas. The Roseville Parks and Rec Board meets bi-monthly, and the Recreation Authority Board also meets monthly. So anytime there's any information that's needed for either parks or through the recreation authorities, mainly for programs, anybody from the public is welcome to attend. Harvey and I, like I said, have met on several occasions. He talked about no equipment. That I don't believe is true. I mean, we're trying to get equipment out there, but I think, and after we met yesterday, Harvey, there was something that came to mind. I think what you're thinking about from what it used to be was more of a summer playground program, not so much the park attendants that are responsible for bringing out the sports equipment, that sort of thing for people to use. But we will be working on that. I promise that too, and we will be working on that. You made the statement about, things going backwards in the parks, and I disagree. When the Recreation Authority was formed 11 years ago, we, as a Recreation Authority, purchased some ball diamond material to be put at one of the ball diamonds at Eastpointe Memorial to get it in shape. And the parks foreman at that time made a comment to me that, it stuck with me since then. That was the first money they've seen put into the field in 10 years. That was then. Since then, the city and whether it was Department of Public Works or the Parks Commission have invested a lot of money into I mean, Roxana Park, there's been improvements at Eastpointe Memorial Park, Spindler Park, Kennedy Park, and it will continue. These things take money and time and resources. They're willing to listen, but it's just not going to happen overnight.
30
We, as a
seconds,
recreation
sorry.
authority, will help out, I'll help you buy equipment. We're always willing to listen to your concerns, and like I said, we're always willing to help. So I just wanted to kind of just put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else this time? Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Linda Flans, Eastpointe resident. My first comment is on rope lighting. I'm not understanding why Eastpointe is having such difficulty enforcing the ordinance. Other communities like the Grosse Pointe, St. Clair Shore, Southfield seem to have no difficulty. When you drive through those communities, there is no rope lighting on their businesses. The Downtown Development Authority is the group that keeps bringing this back before council. And I want to point out that the DDA is made up of business owners, most of which who are not residents. I would venture to say about 98% of business owners in the city do not live here. And I do not feel that dismissing residents' concerns in favor of non-resident business owners' wishes is what you guys are up there for. You're supposed to work for the residents and not against us. My second comment is concerning Ms. Cobb-Munez. Her criticism of Councilman DeMonico for questioning the city manager on something during the budget meeting, I believe it was. If council isn't supposed to question the city manager, who is? Who is the city manager accountable to? Lastly, I support the Military Museum. I believe it is a great asset to the community, and I would like to see it stay here, whatever is necessary to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flans. Anyone else at this time would like to speak? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm Aaron Winkler, a resident for 23 years. My concern is the speeding cars up and down Topher constantly. There used to be a traffic signal at Redmond and Topher from 1950 to 2006. They take it out. They put a one-way stop on Redmond. There's one stop sign from Kelly to Gratiot, which is 1.5 miles. The cars they race. They're doing 60. It's a triple turn by St. Veronica Church. They come off Topher, apex in the corners onto Redmond. It's unsafe to pull out your driveway. It's unsafe for the kids at the Eaton Academy to walk across the street and anybody else. I recommend they put up a stop sign. Maybe 2 stop signs on Topher. It's kind of ridiculous that there's 3 stoplights on 9 Mile in the same distance, but 1 stop sign on Topher in between that 1.5 miles. And when I went to the police to complain about it, they told me there's not traffic enforcement. So I went over their head and got Sergeant Ignis's name, and he said all he can do is put up one of them little trailers that show how fast they're going. That's not going to do nothing. That's not going to stop them. That's not going to slow them down. So my concern is traffic and pedestrian safety walking and crossing the streets. Thank you.
I believe you wrote those areas down. Okay. We're still in the hearing of the public, but anyone like anything else to say before I close it?
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to acknowledge the Association of Community Fraternal and Veterans Organizations provided 2 checks prior to the meeting from County Commissioner Sarah Lucido, one in the amount of $175 and the other in the amount of $2,100, and these will be turned over to the Finance Director for the payment of the Memorial Day Parade.
Thank you. Saying that is all. The first hearing of the public is now closed. Going to approval of the minutes for the regular. Go ahead, sir.
Madam Mayor, I would move to receive and file of the regular meeting of April 25th, 2023.
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Communis.
Yes.
And Madam Mayor, I would move to receive and file the special meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2023.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember Communis,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
We have no scheduled hearings tonight, but we do have unfinished business. I'm going to get straight to it. Item A, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 23-1233, an ordinance amendment to Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Boards and Commissions, Division 7, Senior Citizens Advisory Commission of the Ordinances of the City of Eastpointe. Council.
Madam Mayor, I move to give second reading to and adopt ordinance number 23-1233, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Boards and Commissions, Division 7, Senior Citizens Advisory Commission of the Ordinances of the City of Eastpointe.
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Communis,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Item B, the second reading and adoption of the zoning ordinance and map, Chapter 50, Code of Ordinances. Council.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I could, Councilmember DeMonico, who is not here this evening, but he did bring it to my attention that he had a couple of typos that he noticed in the zoning code. I did speak to Mara about that. She believes some of those have been corrected, but I just wanted the council to be aware of that. So if the maker of the motion tonight for the second reading would simply include those, and I can read those into the record.
Yeah. Is it a lot that you have to read in the record? Can we physically see it? Good evening, Ms. Mara. How are you?
Good evening. Hello, everyone. Hello, council. Hello, city administration. Hello, superintendent. Hello, members of the community. Thanks for having me. I'm Mara Brachaszewski. I'm your city planner. I'm here to represent the zoning ordinance update. And I believe the question on the table was if we made the updated recommendations per Councilmember DeMonico Jr. And yes, we made all of those recommended updates.
Thank you.
They are in front of you today in that printed packet of the zoning ordinance that you received, delivered to your door about a week ago.
Mayor, I do have a question about, I know we're giving second reading, and a couple, I think, I don't know, 2 meetings ago or something like that, there was a business that came forward, the gas station. And I know that there was discussion about drive-throughs, no drive-throughs. I'm concerned that we're limiting or restricting some of our businesses to come through, so I'm curious as to know why the recommendation is to get away from the drive-throughs. For me, I don't want to restrict businesses or viable businesses from coming into the city. I believe our objective is to get good businesses to support our community. But I know some concerns. Some businesses are carry-out only. Some businesses do drive-through because of staffing issues and so forth and so on. So my concern is, are we hurting ourselves and potential businesses coming in by limiting that? And I'd be curious to hear some thoughts on that. Because my personal feelings, I think I would like to allow it, but, I'm curious, I'm open to hear other thought on that.
I agree with a lot of the statements that our councilman said. Ms. Mara, what do you think about what you just said?
I think this is an important talking point, and thanks for bringing this forward, Councilmember Baker. If you don't mind, I can put a quick pin in this and tell you a little bit about the background of the ordinance. So we talked last week, and I gave a presentation. I'm not sure if you wanted that again, but I see the hard no.
I was thinking more of going over, doing an overview of what Councilman DeMonico was talking about. He needed edited, and then going over what the concerns of the council, which was one of Councilman Baker, which I agree with. If you don't want to go over the whole thing, so we can pinpoint the errors and the edits that we need to do.
Okay.
maybe.
So for a preface, this project has been under consideration for over 1 year now, and it has involved 7 different steering committee discussions and 11 different planning commission discussions, all of which are reflected today within this end document, the zoning ordinance in front of you. So when we talk about the districts and what uses are allowed in each district and why drive-throughs aren't allowed in each district, these conversations are all teased out from the discussions that we had throughout the course of 1 year. And we've also modernized the ordinance with the goal to update it to reflect national best practices, urban design best practices. And I want to put a plug out there that this ordinance has received accolades from Macomb County, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and we applied for an award to receive best practice from the American Planning Association Michigan chapter. So going into the 2 comments, all of Councilmember DeMonico's comments were brought forward 2 weeks ago at the first reading of the zoning ordinance, and staff addressed all of those comments in the memo within the packet 2 weeks ago, and we reflected all of those changes today in front of you. I don't have the list of the comments in front of me, but I did check, and all of the changes are made in the most recent May 1st, 2023 edition of the ordinance.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
With respect to, and first of all, I want to say thank you, because I know this has been a long road, revamping our zoning ordinance. But we do want to make sure that we get it right, since hopefully we don't have to trudge back through this again later, right? So with respect to the drive-through, when I look at page 22, section C, it only states that a drive-through restaurants must be located 300 feet away from residential zoning districts and measured by property line to property line. I'm wondering, in keeping with what Mr. Baker has raised, if we would fare better if we added some language to allow for drive-through in mixed-use 2 and T districts, and include, for example, that there needs to be accessory use, that the drive-through must be accessed from the alley and located in the rear of the yard. It must be at least 30 feet from the property line, and language like that, so that we are a little bit more open, so that if there is a drive-through investor that wants to come and put something in our city, and it's not going to create a traffic jam, but there's entrance from the rear of the property, that we can still have that option, just to give us some flexibility and not close us off to all potential investors that would be drive-through. Because if we didn't have drive-throughs, I think of 9 Mile. If we didn't have drive-throughs, people couldn't go to many of the drive-through restaurants there.
Okay.
Thank you. I know you're about to address that part.
Sure, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is a great conversation, and today's the day to have it, but I also want to say that a zoning ordinance is a fluid document, it's a living document. We can, if something doesn't work, we can update it, and now we're really good at the process of updating it. So I just want to put that out there too. It doesn't have to be this large, cumbersome process. We can update the zoning ordinance once it's finished. But anyway, going back to the drive-through discussion, and this has been a great debate throughout the course of our 1-year project. There's different talking points for each conversation. The way this ordinance is moving is to represent a good best urbanist practices to reflect a walkable downtown Main Street community. So when you look at the new ordinances or the zoning districts that were created, you see mixed use neighborhood 1, Main Street mixed use, downtown, and then mixed use regional corridor. So when you say if we want to have a drive-through around on 9 Mile, well, 9 Mile is branded to be our Main Street corridor.
And we didn't just make this up. This is a conversation that's been going on for a year now, but also embedded and reflected within the master plan of the community and the 9-mile strategic corridor plan of the community. So the community has vocalized for years now and within these documents and through the course of this year that they would like to have more walkable community. So drive-throughs are the antithesis of a walkable community. That's why I would put more care into where we allow drive-throughs. Maybe we want to allow them more in other districts. This is entirely up to you. And I also want to point out, this is your ordinance. You guys, we need to feel comfortable with it.
Right. So, to be clear, I'm not suggesting, I use 9 Mile as an example. I was not suggesting we change something to the master plan of 9 Mile. What I am suggesting, though, is that for those districts where it would be possible to make it more fluid, that we not limit. And so maybe we look at adding some language that would allow for a drive-through. You know, I think of, and you can tell me if this isn't already zoned in this manner, but the Big Boy across the street. If we were to have access that came from the side or the rear as opposed to directly off of Gratiot, is that a property that, given the current zoning ordinance, would allow for a drive-through?
The current zoning ordinance?
Or the one that we're proposing, I'm sorry, this one,
Proposed.
without any change, yeah.
Right. Madam Mayor?
Please.
Okay, thank you. So I have the proposed zoning map in front of you on the screen today, and you can see, so you're talking about the former Big Boy property,
Yes.
and that is within the red parcels over here. Actually right here. So no, you could see that red, it means that it's zoned, sorry, I can't really move my mouse, but it's zoned downtown in the legend over here for the members of the public. And when we look at the use table, which I just had on the screen, you could see D, like downtown, does not allow drive-throughs. Downtown, drive-throughs, not allowed at all. And the reason why is because we look at this location of the former Big Boy site, and we see the potential of creating something really great that the city of Eastpointe has envisioned throughout the course of the 9-mile strategic corridor plan, the master plan, and this project. As you can see, these are the visioning boards of the type of important development they want to see within the heart of the downtown. And I'll go back to the zoning map. The former Big Boy site, we can all agree, is in the heart of Eastpointe. It's at the 9 Mile and Gratiot intersection. The four corners of a downtown is precious to any downtown. And I would add to the conversation that we want to consider what types of uses and design we want to have as the representative of our heart, of our core, of the core of Eastpointe. That's just what I'm going to bring to the table, but I want you guys to be comfortable with this. I'll just provide information on the discussions that we've had.
If I may, Madam Mayor.
Yes, look that way, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. The reason why I'm asking, and I understand, I understand everything that you've laid out and that you've presented, but I'm trying to understand it from a residential standpoint. So especially when we're talking about walkability, right? And let's say that there is an investor that wanted to come in, and I've looked at that particular property for years now, sit vacant. But let's say there was an investor that wanted to come in, that wanted to create a space that was not only had the ability for drive-through, but also had outdoor seating and had the ability for you to still walk, for it to still be walkable because the drive-through came from the rear as opposed to coming directly off of Gratiot. At this point, based on our current proposed zoning changes, we would not allow that. We would say no. And so we would be stuck with this building still sitting there waiting for something that fit within that, even though we're able to accomplish both things, give our community a space that's functioning and not sitting vacant, give our community a walkable space, give them the outdoor seating, and give them access to the business for drive-through purposes from the rear. So why would we limit and prevent growth and economic development within the community when we could have added in some flexibility. And I'm not saying, even if it becomes like a special land use, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of different options so we don't, and I understand what you say about it being fluid, but it's not so fluid because we've got to bring it before a board and get a whole committee to agree to it, but.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thanks, Mayor. I'm happy we're having this conversation again. This is definitely time to have it. So I want to say, there's a couple things I could say right now, but we do have investors that have come forward to open up a drive-through at 9 Mile in Gratiot. Yes. We also have had investors that are interested in modifying their plan and not including the drive-through because they believe in the city's vision. And they understand all of the discourse, the 1-year discourse that has contained conversations about what the city wants in their heart of their downtown. So the conversation today is, what do you want in the heart of your downtown? Do you want a drive-through in the heart of your downtown? If you do, for the name of economic development and taking the first option that you want, then let's change it. The tools to change it would be to allow a special land use in the downtown, so allow drive-throughs as a special land use in the downtown. But if you want to hold out on that good urban design that you've been hoping for in the heart of your downtown, I would recommend to keep it, drive-throughs to not be allowed in the downtown.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I guess the thing that we have to hope for is there's no other pandemic or some such event that causes businesses to shut down, lose employees, and things of that nature. So that's just another concern that I had about it.
So you're saying that this ordinance is flexible. We can add or subtract if needed. So just say, for instance, someone wants to, it's not zoned, and you feel like with this plan, it's not good for it. How would that, do we need to change it now, or should we do it on a case-by-case basis when it comes to council and the planning commission? If the planning commission says, no, this won't work, or it will work, but it's not, it doesn't follow the plans, but it's good for our community, we have to just go back and just amend it, or should we do that now, or how does that work?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Okay, so right now we are discussing if we want to approve and adopt the ordinance today, and we can allow any conditions of approval that we want today. Okay. So any changes you can make today, and they will be reflected after we post it in the newspaper 1 week after it's posted in the newspaper, if anyone wanted to know. But if we don't make any decisions to change the ordinance as it is in front of you today, then we can accrue feedback. This is what I do in other communities. Write down feedback that I receive of what changes are desired, and then bring it back to reconsideration with a list of different changes to Planning Commission, and Planning Commission would host a public hearing, and then we would bring it to City Council. We would host a public hearing, have a first reading, have a second reading, and then you would make the changes.
Right.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know, I would defer to the city attorney, but I don't know if it's appropriate to change a zoning ordinance on a per applicant basis. So if this is something that the council would like to allow with the discretion of the Planning Commission to make a recommendation, that probably something that should happen now. Again, as Mara stated, this is your ordinance, so it's what you want to see. I do note that there was an article in the paper that Jimmy John's will not be opening any stores without drive-throughs in the future due to staffing issues and the fact that this, and I don't mean to go against the planner, but we've all seen what has happened. Seems like Tim Hortons on 9 Mile is often drive-through only. So again, I leave that to council, but I don't think it's appropriate, Mr. City Attorney, to change an ordinance on an applicant-by-applicant basis.
Yes, sir, Ms. Albright.
And Madam Mayor, I would agree with Ms. Holman. What's before the council tonight is the approval of the zoning ordinance, but again, the zoning ordinance is a very fluid document that can be amended per recommendation of the Planning Commission. So if it is approved tonight, if council decides that they want to have something changed based on community feedback, it can go before the Planning Commission, as Mara stated. Public hearing can be conducted, and a recommendation then can come from the Planning Commission back to the City Council.
Okay, council, you want to move forward? Because I would like the public to participate in the change of the zoning, as far as opening it up to more, drive-throughs and things like that. But no matter what, if we change it, it has to still be approved. So anyone just can't, bring a business that's not approved by planning, or it doesn't go with, the plan of the community. So just like we didn't go with the gas station, what was a couple weeks ago, the residents didn't want it, and so it wasn't up to us, it was something that the public didn't want. And that is why we did what we did. So moving along with this, should we go back to another public hearing before we change that part, or how does that go again? Mr. Albright, do we need another public participation so we can see the feedback of the residents before we just say, let's add this, or?
The council could table a second reading to allow for the matter to go back to the Planning Commission with a recommendation, and to also allow for a public hearing.
Okay.
If the council decided to do that.
You said so much, I couldn't get it just like that. So council, what do you recommend? Do you want to go with the attorney's recommendation with that, or what else?
Of tabling that mean, and give our recommendation to the Planning Commission, is that what you're saying, Rich?
That's one option, is to table a second reading, yes. And I do see Mr. DeHunt in the audience. I saw him walk in quickly. I don't know if he has any comments. He may have been watching the meeting at home and decided that he wanted to make a personal visit.
Hello, Chair.
Come on down.
That's why I came.
And
Give it away, the sweats and the flip.
Mayor, may I add one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to report, I'd be regretful if I didn't. The city of Minneapolis just recently banned all drive-throughs in the entire city.
Who did that? What city?
City of Minneapolis.
Do you know why?
Because they want to make a commitment to be a more walkable city that does not have access management problems, vehicle, pedestrian collisions. Also, they see drive-throughs that contribute more to the litter of their city. And and then they were worried about the car exhaust from idling cars.
So they felt that nobody could walk in that city unless you disallowed drive-throughs, that you wouldn't be able to walk.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
They see drive-throughs as a tool against what type of community they're designing.
Understood.
In that vein, can I ask a question of you, Ms. Mara? Are you then asserting that the feedback that you've gotten from the community is to make Eastpointe a 100% walkable community? Or I guess I'm trying to understand the correlation between what that city chose to do and the recommendation that you're making to us.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm just trying to do my best, Councilmember Cobbs-Muniz, to represent all of the best urban planning practices in the room that I know of. And I know we heard the Jimmy John's remarks, so I also want to provide another case study. And my role today is to represent the conversations that we've had over a year now. And I do see that there's a valid point to protect our core of our community. But then I also see what's valid is to have a zoning ordinance that reflects what the community desires.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, we have a great working relationship. So let me make that clear for those who might later come back and say I was coming from Mara. We don't have that kind of relationship. We have a really great working relationship. I'm just trying to understand if the feedback that you've gotten from the community is that they want the downtown area in particular, since that's what we were talking about, to be a 100% walkable community. Or because we can't deny the fact that Gratiot is a main thoroughfare and connector through through the metro area. So I'm just trying to understand what the feedback is that from our community that you're basing it on, since we want to make the decision in accordance with what our community wants.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
And I can assert that I also have a great working relationship with Councilmember Cobbs Muniz. So reading the master plan, a comment that is often recorded is that we want more walkable, safer pedestrian community in Eastpointe. Also, that comment is reflected in the 9-mile strategic corridor plan. So when I hear, I don't have the opportunity to sit and chat with everyone. I would love to, their concerns or their vision of the community, but those two documents are tools for city leaders to make decisions, because the community, we spent a bunch of time and money on those documents to incorporate community feedback in all of the outreach procedures that we participated in. And for this project, we've had the community boards that I showed you right here, living in City Hall for probably 4 months, and people put stickers of what types of designs they wanted to see. This one is called Economic Development. I don't know if we still have it here today. No, we don't. I could bring it forward, but you can kind of tell that these high-rise, mixed-use buildings have more stickers versus like this single-story, like Detroit Wings have 2 stickers. So if you're looking for the public feedback, this is data that we've used, and we've also incorporated the 7 steering committee discussions who represent leaders of the boards and commissions in Eastpointe, and then the 11 planning commission discussions and feedback from Monroe, Macomb County and our Michigan Economic Development Corporation planner. That's the community outreach.
Any comment before we let Mr. DeHaan? Mr. DeHaan, did you want to make a short couple statements? Good evening.
I apologize for my attire because I was compelled to come up. I was appointed to this board a long time ago by Mayor Pixley, and she put me up because she said, I need you to help with the master plan. We need forward vision. There may be some that don't think that I have forward vision, but I think for the most part we do. And it was a very labor-intensive, painful process that Mr. Albright can attest to. The very long nights, the meetings that we had at 8K, the sessions that we had here. This was prior to Mara coming on board. And the vision was what Mara has been talking about, a walkable community. When we hammered out that we wanted to see 9 Mile as a central business district, we did it because it cuts the city in half, but it is the center of the business district. The DDA is one little nugget, which is awesome, and it's the shiniest part of our crown, but 9 Mile is where the development needs to be. Having said that, I do not ever remember anybody saying that we need more drive-through restaurants, ever. And this goes back 6-7 years. Are they nice? Sure. But could you imagine how beautiful 9 Mile would be right now if we didn't have any drive-through restaurants on there? We had family-owned businesses, we had restaurants, we had retail that appealed to the mass audiences. It would be nice. We can't think about the past, we have to think forward. Drive-through restaurants are not forward-thinking. They do not add anything pretty to our community. There is no aesthetic value. So when Mara first brought forward the Four Corners, can I talk about Four Corners?
Yeah.
When Mara first brought forward the Four Corners vision for Gratiot and 9 Mile, I'm sitting in this chair, I'm thinking, yeah, that's never going to happen. But then you have to stop and think. We have to look forward. We can't look at tomorrow. We can't look at next year. We can't look at 5 years from now. We got to look 10 years, 20 years down the road. The high school, from what I'm hearing, maybe it's going to get shrunk. Maybe it's going to be rebuilt somewhere. You've got a lot of land that could be over there that could be developed. You've got a lot of parcels around the old big boy that things could be done with. I don't I would hate to see what has happened at Stevens and Gratiot when we had a beautiful opportunity. We took the first thing that came along. I'd hate to see that happen at 9 Mile and Gratiot. And I can't speak for my board, but I doubt that anybody would be very excited about a lot of drive-throughs. So, that's my soapbox.
Thank you, Mr. Jahan, for your work that you've been doing for the last couple years.
Thank you.
Before my tenure as the mayor of Eastpointe, I think what Councilman Baker was talking about, myself and Councilwoman Cobb Eunice, we wasn't trying to take away the hard work that you all have done, or you, Ms. Morrow, I speak for myself, but, and also having the background that, or the research from Ms. Holman and yourself about Minneapolis is always helpful in how you move forward, seeing what other communities are doing. So I love that. But what we are saying is that I don't think that even though we have a planning commission and you have put this together, our residents probably don't understand why these businesses are not opening. So we can make a plan of action, but when no one is following what we want all the time, we have to listen to, like Councilman Baker said, the businesses that want to come here. We can't tell people where to invest their money at unless we work with them. So the big boy, we had a ton of investors that the residents may not have known about, or that old Hearst rental place right there. So when you don't have businesses being productive in areas that we do want walkability, we're not going against what the residents are saying. Again, this is coming from just what I'm hearing or seeing. Maybe they don't know why these businesses are not, viable or coming to life, is because we're stuck in a place where businesses don't want to invest in the city of Eastpointe because we're still stuck somewhere. And so that's what I was, looking at. Like, I know what Ms. Holman was saying about Jimmy John's and what Councilman Baker was saying about the pandemic and things like that. And a lot of people can't hire a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to, are entrepreneurs now. They're not working like that. They're becoming entrepreneurs. So, and people are going to the drive-through. So we just, thinking on that end as well. So, like I said before, I don't think the residents know the things that are the investors and things like that want the opportunities in the city. They just see the closed buildings, and we also have to realize when you see a lot of closed buildings on a thoroughfare like that or in our community, it is blight now, which causes crime, which causes people to litter and things like that, and people to move out the community because they don't want to see that. So it's so many different dynamics. So nobody in here is right or wrong. That is why we come up here to talk about these things. That's why we have residents come up here, a planning commission, yourself, and we do research and see what everybody is thinking or doing in other communities. So we just want to be open-minded to the opportunities and not going against a walkable community. I would love a walkable community. But can I tell a person that wants to invest millions of dollars, that's what we want, and that's what you got to do. They probably go to Minneapolis. So I'm just saying that to say, just be a little bit more open to, especially to the business, to what it is. So do you know where I'm coming from when I bring those points about?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I understand the conversation and the debate at hand. Do we want to have a more flexible zoning ordinance that allows drive-throughs in the city everywhere? Because we've received requests to open 3 drive-throughs so far. So that's one hand. Or do we want to rely on our visionary documents that have been rooted in community engagement of how we want our city to be? And yes, if I don't know if you were asking me, but yes, you have the power as a city to determine what you want out of design and business in your city, especially in the importance of this heart of the downtown.
Like, for instance, the big boy. Let's talk about that real quick. But before we go into that, I'm going to do a 5-minute recess.
Okay.
Because this might take a minute. So, and then we'll have you come back up and finish educating us more on this. So we're going to do a 5-minute recess, everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, everyone, can I get everyone's attention? We are back in progress right now. Again, can everyone please be seated so we can continue with the meeting? Thank you. You know what? So that we can keep this flowing, we're going to go, well, whatever what council wanted to do, what the attorney recommendation was, or what? How do you all feel? How do you move forward?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we table this discussion until our June 6th or June 20th meeting, to give us an opportunity to share whatever thoughts and ideas we have with the Planning Commission and the team that's prepared this zoning ordinance, so that we can then come back and make a final decision.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Oh, Mayor, can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes,
please?
ma'am.
Okay, thanks. So what are you looking for in terms of topic of discussion?
There are a couple of questions I had. I had like 7 things that I had with respect to just seeing how, more than just drive-throughs, just little bits of language here and there, seeing how we can make the zoning ordinance a little bit more, just add a tad bit more flexibility while not taking away from the standard that is set by the zoning ordinance.
So miscellaneous?
Everything from language on page 7 with respect to zoning of the vacated areas to some language pertaining to the family landscape design on page 72. Like, I have a few different items, and I would be more than happy to go over those with you outside of this forum, but I know that we've spent an incredible amount of time on this, and I want us to be able to pass the ordinance.
Well, when she finished her comment, then Mr. DeHaan, I'll let you do a comment, then we're going to move right along.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Councilmember. I'll defer to city administration, help me coordinate a meeting with the steering committee and planning commission representatives and council to address all of the notes, okay? Is that okay?
That's not,
So just for clarification, do you want it to go back to the steering committee and planning commission, or are you saying you want to allow council to ask questions of our planner and zoning administrator for clarification, and then you can come back in June to make motions based on that meeting?
The latter.
I was going to suggest what the attorney talked about, having another public hearing. I think you said something like that. Was it where the public can add their comments?
Madam Mayor, an option that the council could do is table the second reading and also ask that the matter go back to the planning commission for a public hearing.
For a public hearing?
That was one option.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I just have one question. Did we not, since we're doing the second read, did we not have a presentation of all of these for the zoning?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we had a presentation 2 weeks ago, and it's on the screen in front of us today. I also know that the city manager shared it within her weekly meeting report.
You didn't have a lot of questions that night, did you?
We did not have any questions, Councilmember. Thank you, Mayor.
So what you suggesting, Councilman Crowley?
I don't have any suggestions. There's a motion on the floor. I don't know if you've got a second. Yeah, you do have a second.
Yeah.
I don't have any more comments on the motion.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, was that to table to the June 6th meeting? Is that
June 6th or June 20th, but I guess we can say for certain June 6th, yes.
Okay. Motion and support, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we move on, I want to make sure that he...
So I have a favor to ask if it's coming back to us. Would you all email Mara just simple bullet points, your concerns? That way she can compile and get us a fact sheet and we can do a little pre-work homework, because I know some of my board members are very anal about those things. So if we can have that information well before, so we can prepare, and then if we're going to have a hearing or open discussion, that way everything is very fluid.
Okay, thank you,
You can
sir.
clarify. Right, Councilmember, are you requesting it to go to Planning Commission?
No, to be clear, what the motion was to table the discussion to June 6th to give us an opportunity to present our proposed amendments to Mara and you if you so choose. I don't think that they are so extensive in nature that it's not a simple conversation that cannot be had. I think we've gotten hung up on one thing tonight, but I had more than just the drive-through language that I had a couple of questions about. And with respect to not having asked those questions at our prior meeting, these are things that's why we have a second reading, so that we can go back through and make sure with a fine-tooth comb, this is what we are comfortable with passing. And so these are items that were made note of in preparation for tonight's meeting.
Okay, thank you. Have motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
No.
Mayor Owens?
No. Okay. So, do you want to propose another motion, Councilman Curley?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I would move to approve the second reading, give a second reading to adopt the revised zoning ordinance and map, Chapter 50, Code of Ordinances.
They both die. So maybe we can come back because, so we can have Councilman DeMonico here? How does that work? Do I have to make a motion to table it till we have a full council, or how does that go?
I would recommend that a motion be made just to table it to a future meeting, whether it's next Tuesday's meeting or the June meeting, to have a full board here to have further discussion. And that way we'll also have a full council, hopefully.
Well, Madam Mayor, since the motion's died for lack of support, I will make a new motion to table this discussion until the June meeting, the first meeting in June.
Isn't that the same motion that just failed?
What? Oh, the 6th already fell. That would be the 6th, but you can talk out loud. The 20th? Okay. I would to the June 20th meeting.
So what you just said was we're going to table it to a full council, whatever.
Well, I would hope by June 20th, everybody will be here, but
Yeah.
if they're not, we'll deal with it at that time. But the motion reads that we'll just postpone this, table it until the June 20th meeting.
Madam Mayor, I think that if it's simply a motion just to table it to the first meeting in June without any other conditions, that would be a different motion, or we could, the council could table to the second meeting in June. Either date, perhaps to allow city administration more time to prepare, if that's something that city administration would be looking for.
I don't want you to look, my personal, I don't want you to look for anything, so my motion is just hopefully that on the 20th, we'll have 5 people here. I'm not asking for any information from you or anybody else.
Okay, so just a simple.
I'm just a simple motion to table.
Motion to table, second reading until the June 20th meeting.
Support. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
I didn't support.
Oh, Mayor Owens, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Moving right along. Thank you so much, Ms. Mara, Commissioner. Thank you, and Council. Moving right along to reports from administration. You get your turn now, Ms. Walton. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First, I'd like to highlight some of the efforts from our Economic Development Department. We received a fellowship with the Community Economic Development Association of Michigan. Our fellow will be here in office next week, so it's very exciting. We've been preparing for that. Our Economic Development Manager, especially in creating a work plan for the fellow and himself to kind of hit the ground running, especially with the construction that's happening. Our Economic Development Manager has been out on 9 Mile, addressing all of the businesses that are impacted by the construction, going door to door with cards. He's been actually created a survey to get feedback from the businesses in that area. He also will be hitting Gratiot based on the water main work that is going on, and then we'll continue down 9 Mile as construction is taking off from Gratiot to Tuscany moving into this year. There are 2 council seats that are up for election this November. The petitions are available at the city clerk's office. Those have been published in newspapers, so we'll be circulating. They'll be listed on the cable channel, the website, and all other normal places that we publish documentation for those petitions. So if you're interested in those seats, please see the city clerk's office during the normal city hall business hours. Our first Clean City this year is scheduled for May 20th at 10 a.m. Mayor, I'll let you address that a little later in the agenda. But if you're interested in coming to help us clean the community on May 20th at 10 a.m., meet us at DPW. May 16th, which is the next council meeting, next Tuesday, at 6 p.m., we have a PACE meeting, which is led by our Pastor Friedman, as well as our Director Ruhib and Chief Marquardt. Which is a public safety and community for equality. They are addressing business safety, so addressing what we can do as businesses within the community to ensure that our businesses are safe, our patrons are safe, as well as our employees are safe. It will also address places of worship, and so if you'd like to come out, join that conversation and hear a lot of tips, we have one of our incredible lieutenants that will also be there providing that training. We also addressed a couple of the issues from the last meeting related to the semis at Big Boy, which those have been removed, and we've been working with a property owner. And we also addressed some of the vehicle issues that we had listed within the community. So I'd like to say thank you to Director Ruhib for his efforts and his team going out, as well as our building department, in addressing those concerns immediately, actually within a week, and making sure that those were taken care of based on the community's outreach at the last meeting. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Director Ruhib for his leadership. It's been a tough couple weeks over at the department. We've been working a lot hand in hand lately, and there have been a lot of things in the community. But we thank you, all of your officers, especially leading into national police work. There are a lot of people that wake up every day and put a badge on and risk their lives every day. And so I really appreciate the courage, dedication, and the integrity of our department and under your leadership. So with that, Mayor and Council, I can answer any questions that you all may have.
Council? I know I wanted to talk about bringing back a, what was that? I know we had a lot of people that, thank you, a Property and Maintenance Board of Appeals. So I've noticed a lot of people have got ticketed for certain things. And I know we had this, what year did we have this? I'm trying to look at it. In 2011, and we don't have anybody. The board has been dissolved for whatever reason. Maybe the people don't live here anymore, something happened. But I want to bring that back. So if anyone has anything, any type of appeal of they feel like they got a ticket the wrong way, you should have someone to go to and talk to about that and appeal about that, because we see a lot of code enforcement officers. I mean, they're doing their job, but we all make mistakes. And if they do make mistakes and you want to repeal that, you have a body of people to do that with. So I'm going to ask our city manager to look more into that and put that on our next agenda, to overlook that and give information to our residents about what that is and how that works. And also, I also want to put on the next agenda, because we have been having a challenge with having our boards and commissions be filled, and then having a total. I think we have on some of them we have 8. Is it 8? Sometimes larger than that, and we can't do business because a lot of people can't show up. So probably minimizing some of those commissions. Probably if they're 8, probably 5 or things like that, and we can look into that so we can continue business as usual. Anything else? Nothing? Okay, we're going right to our Finance Director, Mr. Blum. Mr. Blum, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. That was a nice lead into my topic. Talking about ordinances. The building department became aware of some snow invoices that were issued where the required notice was not placed on the property. There was some further research by the city manager's office, and they found some more. The intent of finance is that any invoice that was for property that was not properly noticed will be voided unless council has any objections to that. But not following the ordinance and the process pretty much invalidates what we did. So the intent at this point is to review everything. It appears to be a specific snowfall in January that the vendor did not follow proper process. So every one of those will be reviewed as well as any of the other ones. But again, anything we find to be inaccurate will be voided unless you guys tell me not to. So.
And I think that's why I was thinking about bringing that back, that, what's it called again? The Property Maintenance Board. So if people did get tickets that were done correctly and they wanted to repeal it or whatever, appeal it, they have that opportunity to do that. Anything else, Mr.
That was all I had this evening.
Okay, anything for our Director of Finance? Saying none. Thank you. Going right to our City Attorney, Mr. Albright. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. In light of this evening's closed session, I do have a relatively short report section. I just want to bring it to the council's attention that the alley vacation resolution along 8 Mile behind the Women's Clinic, that has been recorded. That was recorded with the Register of Deeds back on April 25th of this year. The council's also in receipt of our monthly status report. And for the last 2 months, I've also been including the status reports from Mr. Ferran's office as well. So I plan on doing that moving forward, just so the council always has those as well. Rather than provide them when I get them, because sometimes I get them scattered throughout the month. If it's something that I believe the council really needs to be aware of, but if it's just a general status report, with the council's permission, I'm just going to include those with my status report moving forward.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may add to the city attorney's, yes, thank you very much. His office was great in getting that recorded. It has already been sent to the Macomb County Assessor's Office and should be processed, within days. So that whole thing should be completed very soon.
Sounds good. You're all set, Mr. Albright?
I'm all set. I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Any questions, concerns for our attorney?
Thank you.
Thank you. I also, since we're still in the body of reports from administration, I want to ask about the snow removal or the removal of the tickets. So just say those people they got ticketed but did not receive the ticket. But the question is what if that person was out of town or, disabled or whatever, and they didn't see the ticket? How do we reach the person, the homeowner, and saying, this need to be taken care of so that they may contact someone when they're out of town to do that job? Because how much is the average ticket if you don't do your snow or your grass and things like that? I know it's probably in here somewhere.
Well, first of all, it's not a ticket, it's an invoice.
Well, I'm sorry, invoice.
So you don't have to go to court for that.
Thank God.
The ordinance has no exception for the reason why the snow was not removed. It just has a process of 24 hours after the snow ends, there will be a notice placed on the property, and 24 hours after the notice is placed, if it's still not removed, then the vendor comes in, removes the snow, takes all their pictures, and then we invoice the property owner. But yeah, there's no exceptions for I was out of town, I didn't know, or anything.
And that is why we bring the board back, so if they want to show they were out of town by plane ticket or something like that, or hospitalized or whatever, that'll be for that board, correct? Or should we just embed that?
I don't know how the board was created or what the ordinance says on that. And you probably would have to add language to the ordinance that does allow exceptions.
Okay, can we put that back on? Yeah, add that to our next meeting, language with how we contact a resident on cleaning up the snow at a property when they're out of town or aren't able to do it themselves. Okay, seeing no questions or concerns from anyone from administration, I always add our public safety director. You don't get away, so we can allow us information on what's going on in our community and safety purposes and what we need to know. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor. It's been a busy couple of weeks. We're working on a lot of things here, personnel things. We have a lot of officers out on injuries and things of that nature, but we're plugging along. I just put out the monthly statistics for the department for April, and I just put out the current yearly crime report. You should have that hopefully by the end of the week, and we will be putting that on our social media sites too for the residents to view.
For those that have not viewed it, what is the crime statistics? What should we look out for? Is it an increase in stolen cars, robberies? I hope not. But what are some of the things that we need to do to continue to keep our city safe, and what we can do and how we can manage those things to help you in the police department with those things?
Well, the nice thing about it is the majority of our crimes are down right now compared to last year. However, stolen cars continue to rise. The Kias are a hot car right now. I've been warning the residents, if you do have a Kia, park it in the driveway, try to block it in, or better yet, put it in your garage. It's a very easy car to steal. There's a flaw, and many of the people that are stealing them are juveniles, and they just basically joyride and things of that nature. So if you own a Kia, I suggest you block it in or put it in the garage. But violent crimes, they're about the same as last year, but a lot of our property crimes are down, home invasions, things of that nature. So things are working well. I put a special ops assignment out in the neighborhoods. Police officers are working undercover at night in the subdivisions, and so far, so good, very productive. So,
thank you, sir. Thank you for that update, and thank you for what you do. We're going to go right along to, I'm sorry, do the council have any comments or concerns with public safety? Okay, moving right along to new business. Item A, discussion and approval of the military museum budget.
Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion for us to approve the proposed budget, and then in accordance with Mr. Curley's suggestion at our last meeting, give the military museum the right of first refusal to purchase the building and to notify our city manager by May 31st of their intent to do so for the amount of $1, with the requirement that they retain the property for a minimum of 10 years or it reverts back to the city.
I don't understand your motion. Can you
The
repeat?
motion
Yeah,
is to
I don't,
approve.
would you repeat it or
Yes, the
explain
motion
it?
is to approve the budget
Yeah, I got that.
that's proposed.
Okay.
The motion is also you had made mention at our last meeting that you didn't understand why we didn't just let them have the building. So the motion also included giving them the right of first refusal to purchase the building for $1 and to notify the city manager by May 31st, but as a part of that contract to purchase the building for $1, that they would not be able to sell off the property for a minimum of 10 years. Should they choose to do that, it would have to first revert back to the city. And that's just to ensure that if we're being benevolent and we're trying to ensure that this museum is successful, that they have the best possible chance of doing that.
Well, your motion mentions 10 years. We now have a contract with the museum for 25 years.
Exactly.
And you're suggesting 10 years.
For them to purchase it. Once they purchase it, they're the owners. The landlord-tenant contract would then not be of issue because they would be the owners of the building.
And if they don't want to buy it, our present contract would stay as is.
Yes, it would stay as is, and then there would probably be a follow-up motion made.
Follow-up motion tonight?
Well, they would have until May 31st to decide if they want to purchase it. You made the suggestion at our last meeting.
I made a suggestion that
and-
maybe they would want to buy it for
Right,
$1.
and.
That's right.
And the thinking is, this building right now, the city has committed, if we were to retain the current proposed budget and continue to approve a budget along this line, even if you look at the capital plan for this building, we're looking at close to, if not in excess of, the potential of $1 million of investment over the next 25 years on a building that the city owns but is not being used principally by the city. That same $1 million could go to fund our police department or court. So what I am suggesting is, because we want to see this military museum be successful, my issue was not with the museum, it was with the financial burden that was placed on the city. So if our goal, one, is to see them successful, two, to be fiscally responsible as a city, then we can sell the property to them or offer for them to purchase it so that we're not on the hook for the next 25 years to the tune of close to $1 million based on our capital plan.
Well, I think that, first, I think the owners of the operators of the museum can tell you tomorrow if they want to purchase the building or not. You don't need a lot of time to do that. They're going to tell you yes or no quickly. Right?
I don't know if you guys are having a.
So are you wanting the date to be changed? I was trying to give them ample time to respond and not just throw it at them. They may need time to consider whether or not they're ready for the financial responsibility of that.
Mm-hmm. And the last part of your thing is, read the last part again.
That they retain the property
Yeah.
for a minimum of 10 years. Otherwise, if they want to sell the property and no longer be there, then it would revert back to the city. Because we're only selling it. The proposal is to only sell it for $1.
After they bought it?
Yes.
And you're saying if they gave us $1 on Friday, they have to keep the building for a minimum of 10 years?
Yes, sir.
Before they turn around and sell it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if they have the financial resources to go purchase another property elsewhere, why would we sell it for $1? Our whole goal is to help them and help ourselves. That's the whole goal of this motion, I should say. So, not trying to place undue burden.
Well, you mentioned that in the 25 years, it might cost us $1 million. Of course, we don't know that.
I was just going based off of the capital plan that that was made for that building.
I mean, when you publicize that it could very well cost us $1 million, I think you're frightening a lot of people.
That's not my intent.
Well, I guess if I heard that, I would say, oh, my goodness.
Well, I guess we have a motion. I guess point of order, we have a motion. So.
Well, it's not a point of order. I have a right to ask 100 questions if I
No, I'm
want
not saying
to.
you can't ask
So
a question.
it's not a point of order.
No, I didn't know that if there had even been given an opportunity for support of it. So my apologies. It's not an attempt to stop you from asking questions.
I guess I'm also a little concerned about what you said, follow-up motion. I don't have a clue what that means. You said it, I didn't.
I did.
Okay. I'm a little concerned about that. You don't want to tell us what it is before we take a vote on this one?
I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's relevant right now.
Okay.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. I don't want to stop discussion, but we want to move right along.
Why would you see, I'm probably done asking questions, but why would you pretend that you have the authority to stop the discussion? We could talk to health if it froze over if we want to. I'm done with questions, but I just don't think you have a right to do that, Madam Mayor. You don't, we can talk all night if we wanted to, but I don't want to. I'm done talking.
You're right, but it's been times that you said the same thing that I just said in other meetings that you need to review.
How do you know that? How do you remember all those?
I'm not going.
How do you remember all those? You got that stuff written down someplace?
I do.
Do you really?
I'll bring it next meeting.
I got a tape, and I have taped all these meetings, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
All right. I'm done asking questions. I don't mind the motion. You're pretty much saying what I'd say. We're the landlord, they're the tenant. And if they don't want to buy it, we have a current contract that's good as we speak. And it can't be changed until main part of June.
Are you supporting her motion? Do I have support?
I'll support the motion, but again, I would ask that you would refrain from telling us we have to stop discussion.
I didn't say you have to stop. I said I don't want to stop discussion.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Continue to tax, but I'm going to ignore it. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes?
Mayor Owens?
No.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Moving right along to the adoption of resolution number 23-1959, the Clean City Initiative. Now, with the help of City Council and administration, we were able to spearhead this last year. Before this, the beautification did its due diligence, and we just had a cleanup with them, and we did a phenomenal job. We all did. And we just want to go a step further, and this cleanup initiative is, with the beautification, we did it like once a year, and so we spearheaded this to do a cleanup twice a month. But we started getting not that many participation for twice a month, so we limited to at least once a month cleaning up our city. So, and those who have came out and supported our cleanup initiative, keep our city clean, I want to say thank you. So can I get a motion, you all?
Motion to adopt resolution number 23-1959, establishing a Clean City Initiative for the city of Eastpointe.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
I think I'm going to read the resolution. The resolution of the City of Eastpointe for a Clean City Initiative, whereas litter leaves a blighted stain on our quality of life and is destructive to wildlife and the natural environment. And whereas littering is a crime and attracts additional criminal behavior. And whereas littering influences others to litter. And whereas the City of Eastpointe continues to have a litter problem and spends tax dollars to pick up litter along our roadsides and in our public spaces. And whereas littering creates a negative impression for residents and visitors, and whereas the City of Eastpointe will increase enforcement of this crime, raise awareness about the act of littering, reduce the overall amount of litter, and will not tolerate this crime through a Clean City Initiative to significantly reduce litter in the community. And whereas special attention will be given to vehicles hauling unsecured loads, acts of illegal dumping, and motorists or pedestrians improperly tossing away items. Other items of focus will be improperly containerized garbage in residential areas, commercial dumpsters, and construction debris. And whereas the City of Eastpointe is being proactive in litter prevention by working with residents, commercial businesses, and civic organizations to educate and assist in creating a cleaner community. And whereas the City of Eastpointe will hold Clean City Initiative cleanups on May 20th, June 24th, July 29th, and August 26th of 2023 from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., meeting at 17850 East 10 Mile Road. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Eastpointe does hereby proclaim a Clean City Initiative for litter and encourages all citizens to work together, stand firm against the act of littering, and to act responsibly throughout the year for a cleaner community to preserve the natural beauty, quality of life, and health of our community. Thank you, Council, for supporting that. Moving right along to our bid award for the 2023 Solar Streetlight Program.
Motion to award the 2023 Community Development Block Club Solar Streetlight Program to J. Rank Electric Incorporated in the amount of $239,961.
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
I have a question, please. there 16 locations that these lights will be installed at?
That is correct. There's 16 locations. 11 of those are within CDBG eligible districts, and the other 5 are outside of CDBG areas.
How were the others selected?
There was a plan that was put together several years ago that showed where streetlights, longer blocks where there's no streetlight, middle of that block, those were plotted out throughout the city, and the intent was to start at the south end of the city and work north.
Okay, thank you.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Communis?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Item D, approval of contract extension for engineering services. Council.
Motion to approve the agreement for engineering services with AEW through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Motion and support. Discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Communis?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Item E, approval of the EASP East 2023 Cruising Gratiot Classic Car Show Special Event Application. Council.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Communis?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Item F, introduction and first reading ordinance number 23-1234, an ordinance to amend the codified ordinances of the city of Eastpointe by replacing section 2-525 with the new section 2-525 entitled City Fee Schedule for Public Records and City Services and Programs. Council.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Communis?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Item G, approval of the sale of 23354 through 23358 Gratiot.
So moved. For approval.
I'll second.
Okay. We got a motion on the floor, but I wanted to add to this motion. I was trying to wait till the young lady came in here who has the nonprofit to speak on this with a brief presentation. Did you want to? Okay. We can take a 5-minute break if you want to wait till your mom comes back. That make you feel more comfortable? Okay. So we're going to do a 5-minute recess until the presenter comes back to present.
quick and simple for me.
We are back in session. We ask everyone to please get seated so we can let this young lady and her beautiful daughter do this presentation. And let me get to that page so we're all on one accord. You're going to do a Miss Angela Carter with Cartier's, Comfort Center for Autism. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, Mayor, City Council.
Hi.
This is my first time up here. I'm gonna make it real quick and simple, okay? My name is Angela Carter, and this is my daughter, Deja Smith. I'm an Eastpointe resident. I've been an Eastpointe resident since 2017. Let's see. If I go off this paper, it's just stating that I have a child. His name is Cartier Carter, and he's autistic. He was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. He's 6 years old now. So right now we currently attending ABA, speech, and OT. We travel to 17 Mile every day, Monday through Friday, for different therapy for him. So there's nowhere here around this area for me to take my baby to for activities. He's real personal. He like to keep to himself. He's really picky. So we decided to start a nonprofit organization for autism kids. So it's a sensory room for kids that's autistic, and we would like to let me show you the building. So we want. I'm sorry.
You're doing great.
You're doing good.
You are good.
Come on now, you're all right.
Okay, thank you. So I just really want to bring awareness to our community. I want to be involved with our community. I love coming to the city council. I get a lot of information. You all inspire me. I look up to each and every one of you in here. And I'm just ready to bring our community together and bring the awareness out. A lot of parents like me keep to themselves. We don't go too many places. Our kids can't go where we go because the sensory needs that they have. And so it's very hard on us. So I just want to get the families together and come up to, so we can all communicate with each other, get some resources, information to our community. So we decided to do the nonprofit, and I'll tell you about it. So it's a building that we're looking to get right here on Gratiot. Go to the building, how it look now. So this is the building here that we were looking at getting for the Autism Center, Activity Center. So it looked like this now. We want to make it look like that. Sitting on Gratiot, really nice. And then we're going to offer sensory rooms. The sensory rooms, we have 5. 5 rooms. One will be, okay, we're going to start with the computer room. You got the computer? So we're going to do computers for the kids. We're only going to have maybe like 5 in each room because they don't like to be in the crowded area. So we're going to do computers. My son loves music. I would love to know what everybody else loves, but he likes jazz. So I want to do a room for music for the kids. And then he also likes the lights. Some kids don't like them. Everybody have their own sensory needs. But he likes the glow lights and shining lights, so we want to have a room that they can go in and be comfortable and be themselves in there. We also wanted to offer a bubble show and a reading quiet time. He don't read, he don't speak, he's nonverbal. But give him a book and he'll carry the book with him all day long. He loved looking at the pictures. He loved throwing the book, but he loved books. So we're going to have a quiet room with books and let them be themselves. And they also like climbing, jumping, bouncing. So we have open space in there that look like how it looked now. So the space now looks like this. We want to get it. We got some estimates on the building. You can look and see. We want to do something okay? Something like this for what on the other side. So one side would be sensory rooms, the other side would be the bounce house and things like that. So, yeah, that's it. I'm sorry.
Oh, great job.
I'll get better because I'm gonna start speaking. This is my first time speaking in public. So I'm gonna get better.
You did a great job.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, so this the speaker here, so, okay.
How you doing tonight?
City Council.
When you stepped out, the council had made a motion in support, but I was actually trying to add to the motion, or make a motion to not only to approve, but I know you needed some fixtures of almost $50,000. Was it $50,000 to fix it, and that council approves to pay for that?
Absolutely.
Oh, you said you did?
No, that's what I don't want to do.
Wait a minute.
That's what the motion I want to add or ask council to amend the motion to not only give them the building with the terms that we have put in motion, but also give you the money to fix it up. I think it was $50,000 because we just approved $45,000 to the museum, and that also is a nonprofit. So why wouldn't we do the same thing for you? I just think it makes sense. In addition to, I don't know your prices for the city of Eastpointe residents, but as a partner, that's what we're doing. We're partnering up to provide a service with the community. Hopefully, I don't know what your prices are, but can you, some way, since we're working together, have a fixed price that helps the residents of Eastpointe who have autistic kids with those prices that are more, manageable? If that is
For sure, that's for
If I could
sure.
speak, yes, my name is Jeff Carter, I'm sorry. But yes, absolutely, we do want to have the city of Eastpointe residents have a discounted price for individual, like daily and monthly subscriptions as well. So, I mean, depending on the price, we definitely gonna discount Eastpointe.
Mr. Blunt, thank you. I'm gonna go to Mr. Blunt. Is the fixing, is this possible if, of council submitting that motion of giving them that money to fix it? Is that reasonable to? how does that
I am
work?
not sure that would be an appropriate use of taxpayer funds. I would have to research that.
Okay.
You could, however, sell it to them for $1, like the Military Museum offer, and then instead of paying the $33,000, you could help them out that way. That there's no problem with selling it for less than value. I'm just not sure that we can donate money, even though they're a nonprofit.
Well, it's still our building, right? Just like the Military Museum is still our building, so we're updating it for use for the community.
So the tough part with that one, as Mr. Blum was mentioning, is that if you sell it and you sign off on all of the language, then they technically own it. Right now, we're spending the money to fix the museum, but we are currently the owners. I think that's the tough part that we would have to research if that would be an appropriate use.
What about giving it to them for $1? That you said that's an option?
That would be legitimate.
Okay.
That'd be no problem. Wouldn't have to research that one.
Okay. So I don't know if council want to keep the motion that's on the floor or offer this organization the building for $1.
Mr. Baker made the motion, right? Oh, Mr. Curl.
Councilmember.
I made a motion to,
So he would have to.
yeah, but that can be amended.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you willing to amend?
I think they were asking if you were willing to amend it to sell it to them for $1. I think they were asking if you were willing to amend it, your motion to sell it to them for $1.
I would. And let me tell you why. Take off my airplane. Tonight we honored the police, we honored the teachers, we honored several students that have excelled in the high school, and now we have a group that want to take care of kids with autism. It's an incredible endeavor, and it's going to be here in Eastpointe. You know, that's why I keep saying, folks, Eastpointe, no better place to live. And I believe that through all my heart since I've lived there 64 years, almost as much as Harvey has. Not quite. I don't have a problem doing that. There's going to be people that's going to be taking swings at me for making a motion like that. But you know, we're in, what are we instead of what 30-some thousand?
35.
30. So 35,000. So it's $34,999 less than what we're asking. But I'm looking at what's going to happen in our city and taking care of kids that if you don't have an autism child, we don't have a clue what the challenges are. We don't have a clue. And I want to be able to be the part of the solution that this council would make in offering it to you for $1.
Anyone would like to support that?
Support,
yeah.
unless, does the same supporter have to support? Yes, so Mr. Baker.
Okay, yeah, I would support, but I think in that motion, are we adding language of ownership for a certain amount of years?
Okay.
So the property doesn't get flipped instantly.
Give me a number of years and I'll amend my motion.
I would,
If I may, Mr. Baker, he motioned what was in the agenda and then amended it to $1, so that does include all of the language in the
okay,
packet.
all right, thank you, all right, thank you. Well, I still offer my support, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't overlooking something, I guess I did. So I still offer my support.
Thank you. Motion and support. Thank you, council. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Communis.
Yes. Mayor, may I say something before they leave the
Of course,
podium?
please.
I just want you to know, number one, you did a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Even without your main man there to back you up, you did wonderful. I believe in what you all are doing. I am glad that the decision was made in the way it was made by council tonight. I have 3 nephews who deal with the same thing. One who is graduating from high school in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So Rafi, congratulations. I'm very, very proud of you. But I'm proud of the work that you all are doing. And I think it's going to be an asset to our community. I'm glad to see a building that has sat in blight now have a hopeful future for something good for our babies so that you don't have to travel 11 miles, 8 miles, whatever it is, to go to another community to get the same services. So thank you for your vision on this.
Thank you so much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you all. I'm so happy. Oh my God.
Okay, we're going to payroll and bills. Council?
Madam Mayor, I would move that we would pay the payment of the bills in the amount of $2,658,829.06.
Support.
Motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Communis.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is hearing of the public. The second hearing of the public is now open, everyone. Oh, I need time.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Sarah Lucido, Eastpointe resident. I'm here, first of all, I know city manager mentioned earlier that I dropped off the money to pay for the Memorial Day Parade. So I wanted to make sure that everyone was reminded that we are having the Memorial Day Parade, and you guys are obviously all welcome to walk in it. I know the mayor already RSVP'd, and I know Mr. Curley said that he was going to be there also. So you guys are all welcome to come. City Manager Walton, you are also welcome to join us if you are interested in participating. But I do want to really just take a moment to thank some of the great organizations that help put on the parade every year. It's probably one of the largest city events that we have that is free for the community every year, one of them. And it's really a great event, and it really shows a lot of support to not only our veterans, but those who lost family members protecting us. So first of all, I'd like to give a shout out to the Odd Fellows every year because they donate the picnic at the end of the parade. The Knights of Columbus has been a huge supporter of the parade, and if it wasn't for them, this parade would have probably ended years ago because of the fact the city didn't have funding to pay for it anymore, and they took it on themselves to raise all the money, and they were doing it themselves. And the Michigan Military Museum on Stevens Road, because they house us and they gave us a place to start the parade, and they also donate the time to help organize it. Chris is amazing. He's the president of our organization now, who does a fantastic job. But I also want to speak really quickly on this great group here. Carter's Comforts, Cartier Comfort. I spoke with her a little bit earlier, but I've been following her on Facebook and what they do, and it's an amazing organization. And, every single year, the population of autism is growing in this country, and I think it's just so amazing that we're going to have something here in Eastpointe for our kids to go to. And I thank you all. I thank you all for that, especially being a mom of a child with autism. It's close to my heart, so thank you. So that's all I have this evening. Thanks.
Thank you. And that is our commissioner. She didn't say that part, even though some people knew. So if you want to talk to her about money and streets and stuff, talk to her. She was trying to get by with that. But thank you so much, Commissioner. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Cindy Federley. I want to mention this awesome sale of the building and stuff for the autism group. And I'd also like to suggest with the Teen Advisory Board that maybe they get involved in this project. They need something to work on, to sponsor, whatever. That would be a great way for our teens to be exposed to disabilities and things. And I also want to mention about the zoning ordinance. The Big Boy building has no other entrance or exit opportunity besides Gratiot. So if you were to change the zoning to allow a drive-through, people coming out of the drive-through that want to go north on Gratiot, cutting across those lanes of traffic to get into the left lane to be able to do the Michigan left, that's just to me a nightmare. There are homes and businesses that abut the Big Boy lot, so there's no other way to get in or out. So I think putting a drive-through there would just be a nightmare. So I think you should hold steadfast to the plans. Community has given input on that, and I think we need to keep it walkable in that area. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council, and the people that wanted to stick around and see how this is going to come out. And I tell you, I don't even think I want to be here this late. But one of the first things I just want to throw out there to everybody is the first one. I wanted to receive some information about what was going on with our recreation, just for the heck of it. And we have a beautiful lady over there that gave me this information. And I don't understand, on Article 4, initial assets, contribution, the city of Roseville has a recreation center, which is ours, and the city of Eastpointe has a community center. We have a community center? I'm just asking something. To me, I'm just a resident. I'm asking the officials of this city, do we have a community center?
During council and mayor reports.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. There's just quite a few things. The more I read, the more I don't understand. According to this, as I said before too, I know you're supposed to go through paperwork X amount of time, but some of it just doesn't seem to get done exactly on time. And as I say, the more paperwork I get, sometimes the more confused I get. Like I'm looking right here, it says funding level summary, personnel, and then it says personnel services for the parks, excuse me for saying this. It's got $124,943. And then it's got supplies. How many, I'd just like to know, how many people do we have working in the parks? Can anybody tell me? How many people are employed through the parks? There's the city manager, can you tell me?
At the end of,
I'm sorry, okay, please, as I say, I'm just going down through all the rest of this stuff. Here's all the benefits I've seen through you, and I said right here, it's that, the Parks Maintenance Department is responsible for the oversight of the private contractors that perform the daily maintenance and oversee the improvement projects of city parks. The city owns and operates, and it's got the name of all 8 parks. And I'm just going to say, who receives what? Does everybody receive the same amount of anything? I'm sorry, I'm asking questions, and hopefully you can come up with some of the answers. Because I've asked the city, and even Randy, the same, I've talked to him, and then I'm just going to read this just for the heck of it. And right here it is, the Parks Recreation Fund. And then it's got the expenditures. This is rare now. The rare expenditures, their playground equipment, playground and athletic supplies is $55,620.
time is up, sir.
Pardon me?
Your time is up.
Oh, I'm sorry, we don't even have one, but thank you.
Thank you.
So, with the parks, just real quick. The guy who got killed in that wreck, beginning of December, that went up the embankment off of 94, just before 9 Mile. All of that wreckage from where that guy was killed, slamming into the tree, is still there. And I don't want to hear the excuses about who has jurisdiction, whether it's Eastpointe or whether it's St. Clair Shores. Spindler Park is in Eastpointe. So Eastpointe, St. Clair Shores, figure it out. Somebody clean that mess up. That's really disturbing to still see that wreckage from his death months later. And I'm hearing nothing but excuses why that hasn't been cleaned up. I was there. I was on the other side of the park when he went flying off the freeway. And it is really disturbing to still see that every time I walk down there. In regards to the budget and how the bills were just paid prior to the public comment period, I'd like to know how much of the budget is going to our police department, because this is getting really ridiculous. It's getting real out of control, and you all need to get your priorities straight. You're dragging out these meetings for way too long. When Commissioner Lucido was still a part of council, and as her duties as Mayor Pro Tem, when she had to run the meeting, she got these meetings done in an hour. There is too much bickering and too much fighting over things that really are doing nothing to keep our city safe. Great Lakes Renaissance properties, I'm bringing that up again. 222 times they're on the court docket. That is one horrible management company that could care less about their badly behaving tenants, the disruption they cause in the neighborhoods, the nuisance tenants, their attitude when you call to let them know how their tenants are interfering with your property rights, all the problems they're causing. What do you want me to do about it? Call the police? No. Eastpointe Police Department should not have to shoulder that burden. There's an ordinance, the nuisance tenant ordinance. It needs to be enforced. The city needs to crack down on Great Lakes and say, get it together or get out. We don't need this nonsense. Look at that. There's a lot of your crime right there. You need to do better. You need to budget the police department to keep us safe.
Madam Mayor, Council,
Good evening, sir.
Gary Myron from Eastpointe. Rope lighting. I know nothing's been done. People keep complaining about rope lighting. Everybody got a list. I drove around, made a list. Got a list from other people, from what I hear, or they made a list. Other board members. Seems like nothing wants to be done about it. I don't know if it's because nobody's going to look at night, but you already have the list. That, or put it on August 8th ballot, who wants it, who don't want it. And on the snow, say it snows on Friday. You got the parks and you got the school property. Well, nothing gets done till Monday or even after that. So the residents really don't have to do anything neither. So if that 24-hour ordeal of getting it cleaned up shouldn't be in play. I go out of town, I plan on out of town, I make sure that everything is, somebody's taking care of the snow. You just have to plan ahead. The drive-through on Gratiot, Big Boys. No, they shouldn't have it. I used to live in Detroit. Burger King used to be at the end of my street. Used to get all kinds of trash. They would sit there and dump it, or just drive by and dump it. Drive through, that's what they do, is just get rid of it. We get a lot, you see that all through the city. People just open their doors in the parking lot and dumping whatever they want to dump out onto the parking lots. So I don't think it's a good idea for the drive-through. Big Boys went out of business because of the management. It was poorly managed. Look at the other Big Boys. You go in other Big Boys. You went in this one, it was a dump. It needed to be closed. It was poor management. Last Gratiot Cruise was there. You go in there to get something to eat, they didn't want you in there. It was just bad. So people just started not going there anymore. Anyways, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm looking at the hours, kind of late, so I'm not going to hold you. Just wanted to remind you that we have to listen to the residents. This is not about a personal agenda, or it shouldn't be. People should be listening to the residents. And when residents correspond with you, a reply or response would be appropriate, rather than to ignore residents. I am reminded of a word that apparently most people should know. And the word says that all things should be done decently and in order. So let's find the order and do it decently. Good night.
Anyone else would like to speak at this time?
Hello, it's Aaron Winkler again. I just have one more concern. Even without the stop signs through those curves, there's been so many accidents that they've knocked all the arrow signs down. They've been down for a year and a half, 2 years now. They're not getting replaced. Cars come around there. My house is lined up in the curve. My house has been hit by a car. I would like the arrow signs at least put back. So that's what I'm asking for. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, you guys. Thank you for allowing us to speak. I just want to, Madam Mayor, City Council, I know a lot of people complain, and I've been a resident here for probably about 5 years now, and you guys do an amazing job. I can live anywhere, and I've lived in many different cities, and this is one city that does care about people. You do listen to people. I don't think people realize that we're one of the cities, we're a smaller city, but you guys get so much done. You do what you can to upkeep the city. Of course, there's going to be, one or two unhappy people that, complain all of the time. You can't do everything. But compared to some of the larger cities that are out here, you're doing a phenomenal job. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much. And if we're not doing a good job, you can email us or set up a meeting with any one of us, and we can have a cordial conversation.
Absolutely. And you support businesses in the community. I see you guys out there in the community, so I just have to say that.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that positivity. Anyone else would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, the second hearing of the public is now closed. We are at Mayor and Council reports. We're going to start with Councilman Crowley.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been a long meeting. Someone mentioned that the council was, what was the word, bickering. You got to understand the government procedures. I like to argue. I like to get things done one way or the other, but I can tell you that as soon as the mayor says motion to adjourn and we vote to adjourn, I don't have any hard feelings at all, and I hope they don't with me, because you should know me by now. I don't ask questions. I argue. Fine. That's what politicians do. They argue, but I'm not sure it was bickering. I bicker at home probably, but my wife of 65 years takes care of that. So, anyway.
Can you bring her next time?
What?
Can you bring her next time?
Yeah, I'll bring her next time.
She can get you. Yeah.
We did a lot of good things happened tonight, didn't it?
Yes.
Honoring the police and the teachers and the kids. That's our future that stood up here tonight, plus the ones that couldn't come. That's our future, and we should be proud of our city. We should be proud of our school district. That, by golly, they're doing a great job. And I would hope that those of you who didn't agree with us tonight, you don't hold any grudge either, because I'm a lovable guy. That's it.
Thank you.
Smile, ladies. Smile. There you go.
Councilman Baker.
Thank you. I just want to, I've been pushing over the last few meetings. I didn't make last week's meeting, but I always say I encourage people to talk about something positive, and so that's what I try to do. I've been at my job for 22 years, and I don't have a bad day every day. I don't have a bad week every week or a bad month every month. And no matter how much I may not want to go, in the morning, but I am thankful, and I can find a reason to be thankful about my job. So in any set of circumstances, you can always find something to be thankful. But the positivity that I see today is this Carter family right here. I love what you presented. I love it. And I just wish you nothing but success with it. Encouragement, support. I know I was just listening to you. I know it can be challenging. There's a phrase that says that necessity is the mother of invention. When there's a need, somebody comes along and finds a way to meet that need. And that's what you guys did. So I just want to encourage you. That's my positivity for today, is just you guys are that positivity. So thank you for what you bring into our city. That's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman?
I want to echo what's already been stated, that I am super happy that Cartier's Comfort Center is coming to Eastpointe. And if I can put in some sweat equity, y'all just let me know. Yes. I might jack something up, but I'll come and help. But sincerely, I think it's so good. You guys already have a business that contributes. So to see you creating a space that now will not just help our local residents, but will even bring other communities who have children like Cartier in and provide services right in their area means so much. I also want to give a quick highlight to something I didn't say it a couple of weeks ago, because our meeting was so long, but even though tonight's was long too, I have to say this because it bears mentioning. A few weeks ago, I went to training in Lansing for the MML CapCon conference. And I want to say Eastpointe is very blessed. To the young lady that said that, you know, we do hard work up here, yes. We try to be very careful in our decision-making and do our best to exercise our fiduciary duty in these roles. But on a day-to-day basis, there are people in this city who are working so hard to make sure that it's a well-oiled machine. And at the helm of that is our city manager. And when I tell you, across the state of Michigan, our city manager is well-respected and very well-known. And I already knew it before going there, but going to that conference of legislators and having other people from other cities and other counties, when they were here, that I was from Eastpointe, they're like, you have the city manager, Mariah Walton, and nothing but high praise and all the great things that we get to experience on a daily basis. But her reputation far precedes her. And we have a gem in our midst. And one of the things that she did while I was there, they had her come up because they had a press conference. If you ever get a chance, you can go on MML's website, you'll see the press conference. It's called 1650. And essentially, the 1650 project was about the fact, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Walton, that our government was only represented by 16% women. And so the goal of this 1650 project was to increase representation to 50%. And in the short time that they did this project of bringing together city managers and encouraging people to step out and go for those roles that they might not otherwise go for, encouraging women to go for roles they might not otherwise go for in leadership, they saw an increase from 16% to 21%. And Mariah was a part of that inaugural class. And so she was also selected along with the city manager from Albion to be one of the speakers for this press conference. And again, stellar job, stellar representation of the gem of the city of Eastpointe. And so I just want to give kudos to her for representing the city of Eastpointe well, representing the state of Michigan well. I am proud that we have you, and I pray that we can keep you for a very, very long time. So thank you for your leadership, not only in Eastpointe, but even setting an example for other leaders across the state. And as a result of that, MML is now considering having the same type of programming for elected officials. So I think it's just awesome. That being said, you guys know I like to have a quote when I conclude my sayings. And so James Baldwin said that the purpose of education is to create in a person the ability to look at the world for himself and to make his own decisions. And tonight we celebrated our young people, our seniors, who are on the honor roll from Eastpointe High School. Congratulations to them again. He also said that the paradox of education is precisely this, that one begins to become conscious, that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which he is being educated. And then from my favorite author, the protection of wisdom is like the protection of money. And the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom preserves the life of him who has it.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to all the residents that attended today. I know some of them had to leave. It's getting kind of late. Some of our meetings go way past people's bedtimes, but I thank everyone who's looking at home as well. And I just want to say congratulations to Cartier's Comfort Center and for all that you do. And all the moms, you know, who have a child that's autistic. I went to an autism event. I was telling Ms. Carter over the weekend, and it was just right in our backyard. It was over there in St. Clair Shores, and it was over probably 20, 30 women that were there who had autistic children. And it was a lot of women that lived in Eastpointe who were mothers that wanted those services. So I went to go just talk to them, and the advocate who oversees that program, she didn't even have a child that was autistic, didn't have anyone in her family that she told me, but it was something close to her heart that she wanted to do. And I think that's big, because sometimes we take up on projects, if we're dealing with it, to help other people, but when you're not dealing with it, but you see other people in need, you take on that help, be that assistant, and because it just can't take one person to do it. And so I went there on behalf of, to get support for you in this organization, for a group of women who already have the resources, that are doing the same work that you're doing, to take some of that pressure off of you, those challenges off of you, that probably can be those people that can help you assist with the children or donating certain things and things like that. So I went on behalf of, mothers, the residents, and things like that in the organization to better help you, because I don't know about autism as much. I don't know, I'm not educated on that like I should, and many people are not, but to bring you those people that are, to help you to educate the community on that and to assist the surrounding community with those services. So I thank you for your service in doing that and being, an encourager to me. I know you said all of us inspire you, but you inspire me. You all do. So I just wanted to tell you that. And saying that also, the Memorial Day Parade, don't forget about that, talking about some events. And the events that Rare brought up earlier, let's support the events in our community. And we had the National Day of Prayer, and it was phenomenal. And as I pulled up to the National Day of Prayer, which they held it in Eastpointe High School in the gym, I seen this sign that just made me cry. I was so excited. It said, the Boys and Girls Club of Eastpointe, Michigan. So I said, and I had to take a picture by it, because when I first ran for office, that was one of my bullet points, was to bring something to this community for our children. And, of course, before that, I did the 4-H. I think our commissioner assisted with that. We brought her kids to that. And we went to the military museum for a field trip there. But I couldn't do it by myself. And so, because I'm a Boys and Girls Club, I used to go when I was a kid. It was on Shaner. I think most of us probably went to that one. But when they closed down, they moved it to a school, and they closed that down. And so the people knew me very well. They knew my children who attended, and they saw my dedication to our children and wanting something close to a high school. We just didn't have anything like we really needed in the community to push forth those efforts. And I couldn't do it by myself, and none of us could do it. And so I got the call and said, Mayor, would you like a Boys and Girls Club in your community? Because I know you said you was talking about one. I said, yeah, let's do it. The director lives in Eastpointe. So I got on the phone with the director and also the regional director, who also oversees the ones in Atlanta, helps with that. He flies back and forth. I was a board member on this one, and also assisted with a couple other people assisted with that, and they were like, where can we find a building, Mayor Owens? And I got the superintendent on the phone immediately, and he came up with, let's have it at the alternative school. We're not using that. So all these people I brought together to make this happen, and to finally see the sign. Yeah, we were doing pop-ups back and forth, and but I didn't see the sign. So I'm saying that to say, when you have goals and you have faith and you move on those things and you see the manifestation, it does something for you. So just like Cartier's, you had a dream, you had a goal, you moved on that faith, and now you have a building. Yes. So, when God shows you things, you move on and have faith. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if you're not the best speaker, and I told you about that in the Bible. Moses told God, I'm not the best speaker. I utter my words. And God sent someone to speak for him, but he still was the leader. So even though you are the leader and you might not be the well-educated one or know everything or might not have the experience, God will help people to help you to lead. But you were chosen to do this. And so I just said that to say I was so excited to see the Boys and Girls Club sign. You guys got to see it and help assist with that. But again, I want to thank the people that helped put that together. It wasn't just the 5 people, the board members, the Bishop Eric Lloyd, he was on the board as well. So many other people, I can't think of their names, but it took a host of us to put that together, and the parents that supported it. And that same day, I actually seen some kids playing on the field, and I was so excited, was able to meet them. I didn't know, they were part of the Boys and Girls Club, because they had the building closed, but they were just practicing. And then I got to meet the coaches, and, I was just so excited to see the things that you talk about, you move, and you see it. You know what I'm saying? So it lets you know what type of a leader that we all are, because we don't always talk about it, you actually see it. So I thank you for your comment earlier and saying the things that you see. Now, as a leader, I don't expect you to always come up there and say, we just doing everything good. I don't expect that, because then I can't better myself as a leader, because things that might be bad, I can't fix it because you're not telling me what I need to fix, and I'm open to that, But it's a way to talk to other people to get your point across, and there are avenues to do that. And I thank you for using your avenue to say, you know what, we got little things to fix, but compared to other cities, we doing pretty good. So I thank you for that. I thank you for all the comments and things like that. But we also have a closed session, and if you want to stay to say goodbye to us, you're welcome to do that. Am I missing anything that I should be saying? If not, we are, again, thank you all. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. If you are not a mother, happy Mother's Day to your mother. And if your mother has passed, a lot of people have, mothers have passed, grandmothers has passed, and things like that. My condolences as well. But we are going to go into closed session. Council?
I'm sorry.
Motion to go into closed session.
Councilmember Communis?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley? Yes. Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Motion to go in closed session. are waiting for the rest of our team. Okay, we are back in session, and we are going for a motion for our closed session.
Yes, motion to follow the city attorney's, recommendation, regarding case number 2200784-CZ pursuant to MCL 15.268E.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Next item is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
People, I need to be.
So I support Mr. Curley's motion
Thank
to
you.
adjourn.
Motion and support, please call the roll, please.
Councilmember Curley? Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Mayor Owens? Councilmember Baker?
Yes.